crashes, but it always crashes before 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah.
Dude.
Just ask my wife.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
a strike team. He's in and out. Objective achieved.
Dude, did you get to go to the training?
Yesterday?
Yeah.
All of it.
Was it sick?
I mean, it was low-key from what I'm used to, but it was good to like run scenarios in the building that I've been wanting to run scenarios in for a while.
All right, but what you gotta help me understand, like what all was there, because I was under the impression like it could be CQB, could be more single task hostage rescue.
Yeah, so patrol level hostage rescue as opposed to like SWAT team designated floor plans laid out hostage rescue. Like you get 1 to 4 patrollers. You got a 1-man, 2-man, 4-man team, and by man I mean all people, since it's the 21st goddamn century. Running in like, hey, you're here for a noise complaint, or you're here for this level of thing, and all of a sudden you hear a disturbance in the other room, and hey, I've got a hostage, have a gun. If you walk in without a warrant, I'm killing this person. Do you now have use of deadly force authorized? Can you cross the threshold? All those things. Can you pull the trigger on that person? Target, threat identification, all that crap. And it was nice because they actually had sims and people masked up to where they could actually, me and Pat and other people could pull the trigger on someone.
So did you guys fire sims on people?
Yeah.
Was it chalk rounds?
I've been hit by plenty of sims, dude.
It
was the paint rounds.
Paint rounds?
Yeah, the paint.
Yeah.
The new ones, the Sim X, they fucking suck.
Get used to talking, lean forward or pull your mic closer to you.
yeah.
There you go. You can also lower your chair too if you want. If you can't hear yourself, you're not close enough to the mic.
Should I? Oh, there it is. Yep.
How bad did the paint rounds hurt?
I didn't get hit this time.
Oh.
The last time I did it, they drew blood on me.
Yeah.
But they were embedding themselves in the
They drew
drywall.
blood.
Yeah, just think of like an airsoft round, like with a little bit more beef behind it because there's actually a charge behind it.
It's launched by the primer of a 9mm.
Yeah.
So it's like you stick a...
Here's my opinion though, after being hit by multiple sim rounds of various calibers. I'm under the opinion that 9mm hurts more than 5.56 just based on size.
Yeah.
You would expect
5.56 goes through you so fast, you're probably not going to feel it.
But it's a sim round, and it's also charged with a 9mm.
Oh, you're talking about the 5.56 sims.
Yeah.
Hurt less.
It's the same amount of power, just with more.
Yeah, you got more. You got the
velocity, or not, more energy.
It's a larger round, and you're getting hit with like a larger paintball, essentially.
Bro, you mean to tell me that if we had 45 sim rounds, they'd hurt the most?
Fuck that. That hurt. Talk about
speaking
your
of
piece.
sim rounds, yeah, no, they suck to get hit by, but they're really good because you get the muzzle flash off of them. They sting really bad, and you can hear them going by, so it's good practice.
That's dope.
It's better than like a blank firing adapter where you don't know if your target lands, or it's better than like bang bang bang. Like I hate friggin' trainings where they say bang bang bang.
Well, that's what we had to do for CQB.
Yeah, it leaves a training scar sometimes because like after doing a bunch of bang bang bang, I was doing a Sims day and I drew down on the guy and I said bang 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 while holding the sim gun on him, and he just turned around and went bang 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 for real. He hit me. I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. He goes, well, you didn't kill me.
Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, I think we are going. Oh, actually, wait. Hit the red button. Hit the record button. Is it recording now? Now it's recording. Great. Good thing we double checked.
I'm not doing this twice.
Bro, we've only had to do that once, I think, where we had to record an episode.
It was like...
And it was a very unfortunate episode to have to re-record.
Yeah.
So was it like old school church where when they were recording, the pastor would be like, hey, I liked first service more. I like second service more. And they would tell you?
No, it was, we were recording the episode and we realized the drive died. And then Pat was like, shit, none of that saved. And
we were like 45 minutes in.
Yeah.
To like a, like a sip, like probably like the most intense I've talked about, like stuff about, it was just like, we weren't just like BS and we were like getting into like real stuff and it was like, oh no.
Oh,
this sucks.
You can't fake it again.
Exactly. I just got into a part where I'd really just express stuff and it's like, well, I guess we're just have to do it over.
Guess I'm fake crying on this one.
One of the few times I've heard Pat, not true actually. It's one of the few times I've heard him say the F word and in front of a mic.
And
in anger.
Not in comedy.
Yeah. But anyways, Ken, if you're watching, everybody put your hands in. Put your hands in. We have 2 guests with us. There's 4 of us here in the Mick and Pat studio tonight. We are joined by 2 of our good longtime friends, guys who we have served in volunteer efforts and on our church security team with for a long time, guys who I've had the pleasure of going through Bible study in college with, and homies that I don't know what we've done, but we've just been with each other for a long time. But joining us tonight is Rice-A-Roni. Rice-A-Roni, I'm going to give a brief intro and you could correct me, right?
Sweet.
But Rice-A-Roni here started his first responder career as like an EMT on a bus and is now working fire down in Denver.
I'm in the greater Denver metro area as a firefighter paramedic.
Great. And then we have Mac. Mac and I met in college. He was a freshman in a Bible study I was leading, and we've just been buddies ever since. And Mac followed me in some suit to Missouri at the sheriff department when I was a jail deputy, and Mac was like, this sucks, and he got out right around the same time I did, and then he found an opportunity to be a police officer as well, and now he's on patrol as a police officer.
Told me the jail sucked, and I came right back in behind you, and I learned that I don't like it.
Yeah, I learned from trying to convince you not to work as a jail deputy that I didn't do enough. And so now I've been way more brutal with a lot of other guys who are like, yeah, I'll do that for a little bit. I'm like, no, you won't. You'll do it for a long time.
The pendulum swung the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good job, though. I mean, some people do actually like it.
Some people.
It is, you get paid well to be a babysitter and hand toilet paper to.
Yeah, you do get to be a glorified babysitter. It is crazy because I remember talking to a buddy of mine who's a teacher locally, and he was concerned about how some of his students were going to be doing after they graduated because they were pretty. They were on a fast track to ruin their lives with their behavior and thoughts of the world and their actions. And then, sure enough, I think quite a few of them ended up in the jail. And it was one of those things I'm like, wow, they went straight from being in a classroom in high school to 6 months later being in a classroom in jail. And the only thing that changed is the teacher. But anyways, with that, thanks for joining us, guys. Also in the studio is my dog Takani, and Takani loves Rice-A-Roni because Rice-A-Roni probably smells like other dogs. But also, since Takani's here, I brought some dog treats because they're
delicious.
They're dried duck jerky and beef liver, and I just kind of think they smell really good. And I thought, man, I really want to try these and see how they taste. I think they smelled good. I think they smell a lot like Mac's cooking. Mac used to cook and cook up ducks and pheasants and rabbits. Mm-hmm. So I figure we just kind of each take a nibble of a treat, and then we'll give Takani the rest of it.
Nibbles are for cowards, first off.
Wait, also, what's what in here? Are we eating the little cubes or the strips?
The strips have to be the duck, and the cubes are definitely liver. So
is that what the deal is?
Guarantee.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to free my dog. My dog is freaking tangled herself up in her leash. Yeah, so the duck is the long strips of jerky, and the liver is the cubes. And with the cubes, I think oh man, Rice-A-Roni just freaking jumped into that. All right.
It's honestly better than an MRE. Not kidding.
Dude, that kind of tastes exactly like. All right, Mac and Mick. This is going to be confusing. Mick's thoughts, my thoughts. Tastes just like, honestly, shredded beef jerky in a can.
Yep. To be like a fake dipper.
Yeah.
This is unreal. I can't believe my dog gets to eat like 4 of these a day.
Was that Jack Link's that had you got it at Home Depot, the little Big Chew beef jerky?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jerky chew.
That's exactly what that doesn't taste like duck one bit.
It does. It does.
It does.
Really?
Yeah, I agree.
It absolutely tastes like duck. It tastes like the pieces of the duck that when I cook it, sat too close on the grill and kind of fell off and got a little overcooked.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now with the cubes, don't eat the whole thing.
Oh, I'm not planning
Just
to.
take a nibble of the cube because they're dense and they're dehydrated, and I actually don't want them to like make you nauseous.
This duck is stuck in my face.
And then Rice-A-Roni once again takes the
All right,
entire chunk.
hand me the bag.
As
and I'll take
explaining
a
that you
sip.
shouldn't do that.
Shit, my bad.
I mean, it wasn't like it's low in supply. He just didn't think you'd like it.
There's also some duck in that too.
I mean, it has been marinating in the same bag.
But there's much more of like a duck breast in there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
There's a duck fat. I taste it.
Oh wow, I like the fatty taste of it. It doesn't. It's of course dry.
Yeah.
But it tastes beefy to me.
This smells like a hermit crab cage.
I don't think so.
Valid.
I absolutely can see that, and I wish I didn't, because it's still, it's in the palate. It sticks around.
Anyways, okay, all right. Well, Pat, do you think it tastes bad?
It's the hermit crab remark that's really sticking it
Yeah.
in my brain.
It's that stale.
That olfactory. Well,
Yeah, why'd you have to do that?
because I'm giving an honest review of these dog treats we're munching on.
Well, here's my thing. I mostly just want to try this to know, like, if I was in a situation, could I actually stomach some dog food? And I think I could. I don't think I get dog food kibbles, but if I went to Petco and there was a bunch of dog treats, I'd grab them. And these things are like pretty shelf stable, you know?
Yeah.
It's stuck in my fake tooth.
Yeah, I've got some pieces.
I like it. I kind of like it. I'm honestly just like using my tongue to dislodge it, and it's kind of yummy. Rice-A-Roni's looking over here like he wants seconds. The way he's looking at the street bag and the way I'm packing this Kong.
Dude, I've eaten some weird food in some weird countries, so whatever.
That's true. Rice-A-Roni, while I'm packing this Kong to occupy Sweet Takani, how about you give us a background? Because you're also National Guardsman, right? Or something like that? Airman?
Close enough. I'm a Air Force reservist for over a decade now, with some cool experiences in there.
United States Air Force?
United States, yes.
Okay.
Not the Iraqi. No.
United Emirates.
Yeah. I've been over there, and I don't want to fly with those guys.
Ooh, this is holding, the aftertaste is holding on.
Really? I just had a delicious, like large sandwich from Firehouse Subs. And I thought this would like ruin that taste, that palate, but I think it tasted fine.
Huh. It's all stuck in my molars. Real bad.
Oh, speaking of molars, I found out that I got to go to the endodontist tomorrow because yesterday I've been having tooth pain for like a decade or something, and the previous dentists have not been doing a good job keeping up with it. There's like, yeah, here's some meds, it'll get better. Yeah, no, I fractured my jaw and my tooth back in my rugby days in high school.
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh.
just now getting diagnosed.
Jaw and tooth.
Yeah, so they're either pulling it or root canal, or they don't know yet, but I'll find out tomorrow.
Wow. Dang.
So, yeah.
Well, hopefully it resolves. That's rowdy.
I'm going to go ahead and grab our first things, but ideally, people know what they're here for because of the title of the video or the podcast episode on Spotify. If you're not watching on YouTube, there will be video for this where we're going through all the products and breakdowns of the various kits. But Pat, how about you go over what we're here to do tonight while I grab our first rollout of equipment?
No, for sure. Yeah, and it's I'm excited to have you guys in here. This is the first Mick and Pat show where we've got four people in the room, so that's kind of fun. Ooh. You know, we've got we're maxing out the guest list. Our sound equipment's kind of is all it can handle, and it's fun too because for you listeners, Rice-A-Roni was our longest time listener because we sent him the pilot episodes to listen through and give us feedback on what was going on. We go back to high school, so we're close, and we've got all sorts of lots of fun memories and stuff. So glad to have both you guys here. And tonight, what we've been talking about for a while is, you know, wanting to do first aid, IFAC breakdowns, kind of what do you put in your kit, why do you put it in your kit, and for different applications as well, because there's obviously if you're just driving around in your truck and you're a civilian, like what do you need in your car versus if you're a medic on an ambulance or on a fire truck, or if you're a cop rolling around, what do you have on you to take care of yourself or or your other officers around you. And so kind of some different applications, different uses. It's going to be a lot of the same pieces of gear for the most part of the key things, because really there's only so much you can do before you gotta just get to the hospital and have
Yeah.
surgeons take over, right? And so and we'll get into some of that as well, as far as the thought process behind why you do what you do. And you can prepare as much as you want for your med kits to be, but at the same time, like lots of people get interested in preparing like apocalypse med kits, but like some of those things aren't even going to help you, because even if you can depressurize your collapsed lung, like then what are you going to do? There's no antibiotics, there's no surgeons, whatever. Like, so like really like in a realistic fashion, like what should you have with you? What's the things to not skimp out on? What are the things that you maybe can go a little more budget on? And yeah, definitely what are the things to not go budget on at all, because you want something that's not going to fail in that situation. So that's kind of what we're going to break down with each other tonight and learn some stuff.
Yeah, and I got our kind of first set of stuff, but I figured we'd go through a lot of these med kits. When I buy them, they come, of course, pre-packed, and so one of them I feel like covers a lot of bases. So
Base eye, if you will.
Yeah, and we kind of brought both, Mac and Rice-A-Roni here. Rice-A-Roni has a lot more specialty knowledge for medical products and stuff, and has seen it used a lot more. But also Mac, as got what he carries on him daily, and has also seen quite a bit of I think you've probably seen a good amount of the philosophy of the condom, right? Better have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Yeah.
And you've probably seen a lot of people who don't have it and have to wait for EMS to get there, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, all that said, first up, this is going to be a bag coming out of basically like tactical med kit that I got off of GovX. It comes in a really nice, like Molly nylon pouch that zippers up with quick pull away tab. But there's a lot of stuff in here, and I imagine a lot of it, Rice-A-Roni, is going to be cool. You don't need that. Cool, that doesn't need to be in your IFAC every single day, let alone a unit that you're going to be using on someone else. And we'll get into the various types of med kits. IFAC, for people who don't know, stands for Individual First Aid Kit. And the reason you have that is not so much to use it on others. It's so that way if you become injured, you can use it on yourself or direct someone on how to use those materials on yourself. Whereas, a med kit or a triage bag is more designed around you using it to aid others. So this is an IFAC kit, right? The pouch isn't over here right now because we'll get into the pouches and all that later and organizing is set out. But Rice-A-Roni and Mac, it's all yours to open this up. Feel free to go through. Please take the time to explain, each thing as you see it, what it is, because, a lot of people watching this have no idea what any of this stuff is. They've never seen it outside of possibly an ambulance.
And he goes for the staple first. I do have one thing I want to say on top of that. Like,
sure.
I have a couple disclaimers, not like legally, but first and foremost, I've been running calls. I've been on ambulances, fire trucks. I've been in Bearcats. I've been in multiple countries doing shit for over 10 years now. What I say as the token paramedic in this situation is not gospel truth. There's a lot of opinions out there. There's a lot of knowledge, a lot of internet warriors out there that have an opinion. What I'm coming to you with today, Ken. Did I do that well? Did I say Ken right?
Yes, Ken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ken.
What I'm coming with you at, Ken, is my perspective, my studies, my experiences, and nothing more. A lot of this is opinionated too. So if I say this is bullshit, don't buy it, maybe buy it. That's on you, And another thing as well is that your gear does not matter if you don't train with it and if you're not fucking fit. Like, bottom line, I was talking with Mick and Pat a few months ago. Like, one of the first things I do with my gear, like learning how to cut with trauma shears, right? I go and either run a 5K or I do 100 burpees before I use it, because when the stress hits, when the adrenaline's high, when you're out of breath, that's when you're going to want to train with this stuff. Because if you're using this in real life, I promise you, you're going to be all elevated and worked up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think one thing for you too is, as you're speaking to stuff, we're also acknowledging, like, we we might talk about performing medical procedures on other people that you may not be allowed to do.
Yes.
Right. And so we are going to and different states have different rules. We have what's the law?
Good Samaritan law here.
We have some Good Samaritan law, some protections. But anyways, all that to say, what we say here, it's on you to go figure out if you're allowed to do that or not, and then choose for yourself in a situation if you're going to do it or not. So
example A, I'm the only one in this room allowed to use this. I know for a fact.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
The only one certified to use it.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Any monkey can use that if I show you how, but
hey,
legally.
Yeah, as we go over that,
Exactly.
we'll take time to answer all those questions and stuff. But Rice Aroni, good what would I say that is? Acknowledgement. Disclaimer. Yeah, good disclaimer. And I hope people are looking at this through the lens of like, this is just an opportunity to learn and have these things explained to you and kind of hopefully save you some money from buying things that you don't really need. Because I know I purposely brought things that are going to be what will grab someone's eyes and attention of like, ooh, I should probably get that.
Good.
Just so that way we can hear from people with experience and certifications and such that, hey, as Joe Schmo, if you need this, like you definitely might want to wait till someone who's qualified and knows what they're doing is there to use it, because if you need it, you don't want to fuck it up. So anyways, all that said, Rice Aroni, Mac, please dig in.
Yeah. One of the things that really brings, I mean, he is an EMT, so he's got a much higher level of care that he can provide than your average patrol officer. I'm a freshly minted instructor on tactical casualty care, so I have my first class.
TCCC, baby.
Heck yeah. But it all comes down to just stop the killing and then stop the dying. Like you run in there and you make holes and then you start plugging holes, and that's really all the base level, and that's one level above base is the tactical casualty care. It comes down to what do most people die from? It's blood loss. That's all we do. We just stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
But then the EMTs get there and they get a little bit more advanced. They'll move them to the hospital where they'll actually fix them.
Sure.
We're just trying to stop the dying.
Well, and I think that's a good point, though. A lot of people, when you say stop the bleed, bro, you got to keep in mind, majority of people have no idea. There is a lot of rumors, a lot of myths around medical treatment, right? And a lot of stuff that's wrong when they learned it when they were in 5th grade 40 years ago. That's now different today. Or it was wrong when they learned it a year ago, and now there's new stuff coming out, right? So anyways, all that. How about you guys go a piece at a time? Set it aside, give your thoughts on it, whatever it is, but just start going one at a time. And then as you set things aside and go through it, we'll put them back in the bag. And we got plenty more to go into, so don't spend too much time here, right? But take it away, Mick.
I'll start with the most important part is the gloves.
Yeah, cheat it to the camera. Cheat it to the camera. Yeah,
absolutely.
Raise it up.
Yeah.
Gloves, yeah.
Always have gloves and have a ton of them, because
AIDS.
Exactly.
Hep.
There's been plenty of times where we've gone there, dealt with people, and halfway through treating them, they're like, oh, by the way, I'm HIV positive. So it would really suck if you saved someone, but then you have a lifelong disease. It would really suck even more if they died, and then you got a lifelong disease for nothing. So that is, I fill a little pouch on my belt with nitrite gloves, and then I keep a whole bunch more in my pockets.
Yeah.
The one thing, and you can disagree if you want, we don't use the black ones. We use the blue ones because then you can see blood.
The blood sweep, I know. Yeah. That's kind of a myth, dude. Like, if you get blood on your gloves, you're gonna fucking know.
Yeah.
We run black gloves where I'm at, and like the last shooting we had where 6 people got shot, it was very clear and evident, and it was at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say this: I have not had enough experience with black or blue gloves to tell the difference of blood on it. But I have heard the blue stuff as well, which is also, I think that's a TACMed myth as well. I hear about the blood light and how there's the special flashlight that has like a blue LED that helps you pick up blood easier than if it was like a white LED or
this
a
isn't
green
CSI.
one.
This is pre-hospital care.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying though. Like people were like, oh, you need this $300 flashlight so that way you can tell where the bleeding's at. I'm like, bruh, like if a homie's bleeding, I think any color light is going to be able to tell you where he's bleeding.
They need an ultrasound and a surgeon before they need that light.
Anyways, cool. All right, next piece of gear. We're going to keep running through it.
And that's why I carry red gloves.
Yeah.
You just
never know.
Okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever they are bleeding in these types of situations, it's enough that you can hear it. You don't even have to see it. Yeah.
This right here is an NPA, nasopharyngeal airway. So what this is right here, it's this little trumpet. And when someone has either overdosed or had a seizure or is having any sort of breathing problems and they got that low, slow, like snoring respirations, you can put this in their nose, preferably their right nair actually, which is anatomically bigger. And you can help passively oxygenate. This bypasses the mouth and helps them breathe when they're in that like kind of position.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, what about like if they're like coughing bubble blood? Will that help at all to kind of keep the airway open?
Well, the first complication there is going to be asphyxiation from blood into the lungs, right?
Sure,
choking on your own blood. So rolling them on their side is a really good maneuver there. I wouldn't necessarily think that this is needed for most people because this is used in conjunction with positive pressure ventilation or that bag valve mask you see on the shitty TV shows.
Yeah.
This allows passive movement of air through this little hole right here. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is an essential.
What if we say, let me give you guys 3 tiers of classifying things.
Gloves
right?
are a must. That's baseline.
Okay, yeah. That's what I'm saying is like have these available in any medical first aid kit.
Are we starting a tier list here?
No, not a tier list, but just like what should be in which bag, right? Basic medical kit all the way up to, whatever.
Like must have, should have, you really...
No. Let me finish. Right. Put this in all your med kits, right? Put the gloves in all your med kits.
Yep, done.
This one, put it in just the IFAC, put it in like the...
Oh, I see.
Like, don't even bother carrying it. This is something the professionals should have or... in every med kit. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm thinking when it comes to like levels of like skill and like use case.
Pros only is my vote on this.
Okay.
And I personally have this at our church security bag. I have a few of these, but that's also because I have that bag valve mask with us at the church and there's a handful of us that are trying to use it.
Cool. I will say I did put my own in. I did it to myself with some lube.
Oh,
and I will say, if I'm bleeding and shaking, I'm going to let someone else do it.
Yep. The gag reflex is strong for me on that one.
I've seen people overdosing, slapping at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you've already run 3 Narcan doses and they're...
Yeah. It gets back in there.
Quit killing my vibe.
And for unique use case, now you really shouldn't have this maybe on hand for kids, but like in a case where I had a kid who had potential for their tongue basically falling in the back of their throat or for other things being collapsed and not being able to breathe. And so this is actually something we had on hand for her as well. He has a little tiny baby, which the doctors had for us too, which is like in case we needed to get air into her lungs. And so there could be...
but it wasn't this size. It was baby size.
No, that's like small to medium adult size.
Yeah, so
28 French.
Yeah, but so there's like super unique use cases as well where like we just had that on hand like at the house, you know, or whatever. So and then I'll say too, it doesn't take up that much room either. So like when in your IFAC, like it's not that, it doesn't take up much space, right?
And there's always this consideration too, like your IFAC, right? It's meant to be used on you hypothetically.
Right.
If you want a professional to use it on you, go ahead and bring it.
Yeah.
Cool. Although they're gonna have a bunch of fun.
Next one. We got so much to get through.
We know what this is.
Everybody should know what this is.
Hold it up to the camera so they know.
And take it out of the goddamn wrapper.
Well, okay, all right. Hey, my just so you know, my actual med kits them stocked in them. This is a pre-packaged thing, right?
Very high stress situation. Would suck to have to work through this.
Yeah. Imagine you got bloody black gloves right now and you're trying to open up this wrapper and you got someone losing like several hundred ml of blood per minute.
That is it is extremely time sensitive when it comes to doing tourniquet drills. Make sure you can do it fast. Make sure you can do it right, first of all, but do it fast.
That might have to be a separate thing, like going over actually applying it properly.
We're not going to go through like how to apply or anything like that tonight. Just over what the gear is and if it should be considered.
Do not buy tourniquets on Amazon. Buy through a reputable source. That's the last thing I'm going to say.
These are North American Rescue, which for anyone who's like, but North American Rescue just got taken to court, yada, yada. That lawsuit was thrown out, just so everyone knows, because they did prove that everything is very compliant and made in the USA and quality gear. And to verify how they're made in legit tourniquets, please tell us.
So we have this red tab right here. Gen 7 is the most recent, G7 right there. So that's showing us that we're accurate. There's a few other things as well I'm not going to get into. Just make sure you secure the windlass when you're done twisting.
The biggest thing I've heard is if you flip it over to the plastic on the backside, that the Chinese knockoffs will be mostly slick.
Yes.
And they won't have any
This is actually
printing.
raised. Yes. So this is raised text right here.
Hold it up.
You can see there's a tactile thing going on there. The Chinese ones, since there's like a little tension system in here, it's like a bungee cord essentially. They'll actually fail, the Chinese crap ones. So
I actually just had that on the last IFAC training I did. We had the Chinese ones snap when we were putting them on.
And you said they every time.
Oh yeah, every time they snapped, well before we got to like real force. I had a buddy of mine named Cake, and he threw a real tourniquet on my leg when we were doing a scenario. And dude, I yelped to the freaking moon when he set that thing secure. And the Chinese ones always broke before they got to that pressure.
Sure. Also, color doesn't matter. If you see orange ones, go for it. It doesn't matter.
I have orange and black just for different needs. Yeah,
Sure.
but yeah. Cool.
Next thing.
Very simple, very easy. Just
And
turn off the blood valves.
And for our tiering, that'd be like every kit.
Yeah,
This is
you gotta.
have it in everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have that in your car. Have that.
Have 4 in your car.
Yeah. Or also be using a belt, and it won't be nearly as tight because that thing you
do not improvised tourniquets do not work
Yes.
over 90% of the time.
Yeah.
That's
And-
data. That's not me spewing out my mouth.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like that is absolutely use that because or else you are just barely slowing down. You're not turning the faucet off.
Yeah.
You're turning it down.
Yep.
And you're still gonna die. Like a lot of times they teach us on legs, especially, you will be applying 2 tourniquets
Yes.
because it is a massive artery in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it and a lot of flesh and other stuff in the way.
And you have to apply pressure from the tourniquet to the artery. I wish I had a diagram, but if this is the tourniquet, this is the artery, and this is bone, you have to pinch those all together against a bony structure. So don't do it across the joint and don't do it across the abdomen or the neck and be done. But we can go over that another time.
Yeah, we got plenty of medical things here
let's just-
that you'll see that you can then kind of come back and be like, hey, remember when we said don't put a tourniquet on the knee or elbow? Here's maybe what you'd stuff in there instead.
Yeah.
It's you're kind of trying to like strangle someone with 2 pillows around your hand. Like, you're not going to get a very good steal unless you got a really tight.
Yeah. All right.
Did you purchase this or did I give this to you?
No, this came in the 2 med packs that I purchased for like, the tactical rip away and zipped up Molly packs.
Can I open this up and get you a new one?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you will get me a new one, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Because I know the only way I can get them is by getting another one of those med packs.
Sure. So this is also a North American Rescue product. I really like these guys a lot. However, I dislike this one in particular because it's a smaller one. This is a 14 gauge needle decompression needle. This is a pre-hospital solution for a chest tube. So if you have a collapsed lung from a gunshot or chest trauma in a car accident, or even spontaneously, like these things happen where a lung,
Happened to me once.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Decompressed lung just randomly?
Straight random. Spontaneous pneumothorax.
Yeah, it
17
happens.
years old. If you're blonde, blue-eyed, tall and skinny,
you're Aryan.
there's yeah. And for whatever reason they see that happen, and it can happen. Yeah, your lung can just deflate on you.
Yep. So this is what we use to reinflate the lung. Like we're talking paramedics, and some EMTs on the Army combat medic side as well. So we'll take it, we'll put it in a particular space, draw this out, and this will actually change the pressure in your chest and compare it to the pressure in the atmosphere. So there's a negative pressure inside your chest, and this helps reinflate the lung to an extent. Now, why I don't like this one in particular is because it's 14 gauge. It's really thin, and getting air in and out of this, it's really like a small amount of air. The ones that I like are 10 gauge or bigger. they're finding that 14 gauges have to, I'm getting way into the weeds on this, but
no, you're fine. You're fine.
The 14 gauge ones, you need to reinflate the lung. You have to use multiple of these. And so in the combat medic setting, which I'm not a combat medic, they will decompress the lung and then tape another one right at the site where they just decompressed, because they know they're going to have to do another one.
Switch it out.
Well, they're going to have to do another one.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. You have your open mouth that's taking in atmospheric pressure.
Yeah.
And you have this guy trying to compensate and reinflate the lung.
Yeah.
Like, the mouth is least resistance. It's like if you have a fireplace and the door to it is approximately 1 foot by 1 foot, and then you put a carb in there that's about the size of a golf ball, path of least resistance is out that 1 foot by 1 foot, and you're going to smoke out that 1 foot by 1 foot. If you have a bigger hole, you're going to be able to have a more laminar flow of gases.
And just help me with making sure I'm going over like a lot of the preconceived myths and notions, right? But the idea is the concept that you are piercing the cavity around the lung to take the pressure from the cavity away from the collapsed lung, or are you piercing the lung itself to reinflate
You're
it?
not piercing the lung. However, there's a lot of cases where people are sending these nice and deep and they're actually hitting the lung right here.
Yeah.
And that's actually not that bad of a thing.
Okay.
Because this little tiny pinhole, like if I were to poke a hole in my finger right now, it'd bleed a little bit, but it's not doing like big, large damage.
It's not more damage than like your lung can handle and heal from.
Yeah, if your lung's already collapsed and you sink this all the way to the lung and you go pink,
I'm pretty sure if your
you're
lung,
fine.
Yeah, if your lung has a rib in it, it's going to be okay if that's poking it. But anyways, that is one thing that I've heard from a lot of people where the misconception is they think that this is to pierce the lung
and inflate the lung.
No, you're trying to restore the negative pressure back into the intrathoracic cavity where the lung is housed.
That's something that I didn't know till it happened to me just as a kid, was that, in your inside your body, it's a vacuum. There is, essentially there's all this, and so I didn't realize that myself. And all of a sudden, once my lung collapsed, I learned a lot about it, but the fact that, so you're trying to basically restore that vacuum as best you can, to allow the air out.
I'm going to transform. This is now, thanks, Rice-A-Roni. This is now a training one, and I'm just going to use it for training to show people what it is. All right, but Rice-A-Roni and Mac, any other comments on that?
I've never even seen that. That's well beyond my dumb cop.
Okay, so
level.
then where do we put it in regards to the which equipment does it fall into? Is this your everyday medical bag that's available in your car or in your house? Does this go in your IFAC? Does this go in, leave it to the professionals?
I would exchange that for another tourniquet.
See, that's where I disagree, actually, because they come in standard med kits and those shits are expensive. If as a cop, man, if you have that in your IFAC and I show up on scene, I'm going to be able to use it on you, but I also have one in my bag. So like there's that.
Especially if it's one of those things you want more than one of to effectively use.
Sure. So
one
there's all considerations, 0. Right?
One is none, 2 is 1, right? Cool. All right. So what would you say, Rice-A-Roni, for the people who are out there and like, ooh, I didn't buy that because I didn't think I needed it, and then the dude who has 6 in his med bag, like, what do you think the rule of thumb is?
There's no right or wrong answer on this. That's where it's tough.
All right, that's fine.
I know. I would lean on the side of don't. Like, don't carry it.
Leave it to the professionals to apply and have on them. Okay.
But it's commercially readily available. It's not a regulated product, but it's a very controlled procedure.
I will say it is a rather controlled product from what I saw for like the consumer medical purchase. Like I only saw them in pre-packaged kits, right? I never saw them for sale individually on like GovX and stuff.
Yes.
And if you decide to go full cowboy and use this, you can stick it in somebody's heart.
Yeah.
Or liver. It's very common to stick it in the liver, which is highly vascular.
Hey,
lots of blood, I mean.
Now that we got to that one too, my question for you, how many people do you see have the tattoo in the right place? Of like poke here with the little X?
Never seen that tattoo in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm debating getting it just so that way, in worst case scenario, I can tell someone like, don't fuck it up.
I'll mark it for you with the Sharpie, then you can go get it.
Yeah.
Funny.
Until the cartel captures you and then they just stab you.
Well, if they stab me right there, it'll be all right. No, I'm just kidding. But it was funny. I was talking to Billie Jean about it, and I was like, yeah, what if we get like matching tattoos that is just like the X with the circle saying, in case of, like cavity collapse and deflated lung, poke here. And then Billie Jean was like, I'm not getting that. Like I wear a bikini on the beach. Like that's not the tattoo I want like on my body. And she's like, I might do something where it's like, you know, a butterfly with like a, you know, dashed line going to it, and it's like poke in the, you know, between the butterfly's wings or something. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. Like that's fine. Anyways, all right, next product.
You're up. We're doing pretty good on the tit for tat.
I was gonna say, I'll keep letting you take all the fancy stuff, and I'm gonna keep taking the most basic stuff because that's kind of where our expertise.
Here's the thing, though, man. We're an eclectic group with an eclectic audience.
I think that's fine. And the stuff that you use or have been trained on is fine to grab on.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, we've been trained on this since kindergarten. It was just, you know, kind of rounded at the edges. But trauma shears are absolute must. It is super important for getting stuff out of the way. I've used them for, I mean, especially like if you're going to use a AED for cutting jewelry off, confirmed these will go through, especially most people are wearing soft metals like gold or sterling silver. They're also just nifty. They're nifty for a lot of other little tasks.
I remember when they used them on me, I was in like 3 layers as a kid, had like the, you know, your undergarment insulating layer,
your long
your long johns, and then the like relaxed, not snow pants, comfort pants, and then your snow pants over it. And when I broke my femur and my leg was, you know, upside down, they're like, all right, we got to see if this kid's bleeding and like just hemorrhaging. And so I remember watching them and I was scared because I was like, oh, scissors? And I knew where my leg was broken.
Heading towards my ween?
I had unwrapped my leg from the tree and I knew the fracture was up towards my wiener. Yeah. And I was like, you ain't getting that close with those scissors, bro.
You ready for your second circumcision?
Yeah, exactly. And but I was shocked, man. They grabbed one pair and went through all 3 layers like it was nothing.
They're awesome. You just kind of have that little bit on the bottom to glide along stuff, keep it off the bottom, and they're sharp. I don't know, what do you know what they make these out of? Like what kind of steel it is?
Stainless Chinese steel.
Yeah. Well,
it's honestly just like the bevel and the thickness of it. It's nothing too fancy. Like my Benchmade knife will go through things, but it's meant to go through things with precision. This is meant to go through things grossly and like broadly. And
I guess for people who are going to look online after this, and they're going to see a pair of trauma shears for $3.99, and they're going to see a pair for $60. Yeah.
If you're looking at X Shear, which is the brand I use, I freaking love them. Do you recommend them? Not sponsored.
Well, okay, but you know, you can recommend them, but then I would say like, where's that line go of like, hey, that's actually probably not worth it because it might cut through one pair of jeans, but you're not getting through other stuff versus like how like because I remember when I first looked at it and messaged you a few years ago and I was like, dude, what do I buy? And you were like, that's trash. You're gonna have to throw them away after one garment. Correct. Those are great. You can cut through like 100 things without having to sharpen them again.
Yeah, it's up to you. You know, North American Rescue makes a pair of like $10 or $15 shears that can be used for multiple rounds.
Those are the ones I have.
Yeah, the black North American Rescues are awesome, and they look incredibly similar to this, a little bit longer. Just a quick little like eagle stamp on it. Sorry, I'm moving on the mic a lot. The X shears I have, I've cut off hundreds of clothes with, haven't sharpened or touched them.
Nice, cool.
So if you're in the business of cutting, get them.
Yeah, and if you're not, you can use these. I would say 1 to 3 uses. And you'll get away with it, which is what an IFAX designed for. So,
disposable.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Pat, actually, you just grabbed the package. Will you put them back in so I can put them then back in the big bag?
Yep.
Thanks, man.
See, I'm left-handed, and the scissors don't work as well, dude. I'm telling you.
No, that's just your ape hands.
No, I'm for real. You gotta,
that's definitely a smaller pair.
No, but but in general, have you guys ever tried to cut any scissors using your left hand?
No, God didn't mess up when he made me.
I know, right? It is horrible because just the way that your fingers push across, they apply pressure with your left hand. They actually take the blades apart. It's a nightmare. So I might find some lefty shears. No, what I'm saying is I wonder if they make left-handed scissors. I wonder if they make lefty shears.
Let me talk to my buddies at X Shear, which I'm not sponsored by. I've just happened to do some work with them.
Why can't you be sponsored? You're not. you're on the podcast, but like you could say you're sponsored by them because it's your career.
I am not sponsored by Xshear. I have done some work with them and have some relationships there.
Great.
Because it is like, I don't know if that's a super like niche like issue, right? But I wonder if any like left-handed paramedics have run into that being like, I just cut with my right hand because it doesn't cut when I use my left hand.
Yeah.
You know?
You're in the back of an F450 moving 60 miles an hour down the road, man. Like, there's going to be complications no matter what.
No, for sure. That's like, but if you can't even cut a piece of paper,
all right,
not moving, you know,
Yeah,
we got to keep going. We got to keep going.
Got lots to get through.
I got to keep you guys on track.
I'm going to go with this one because I recommended this one. I'm taking this out of the package for you because it's worth it. So what this is a SAM splint. It's 36 inches long. Unlike me, there's also a 48-inch long option, so 3 to 4 feet, and this unrolls into a 4-inch strip. It's actually aluminum in here, so it's malleable with some styrofoam on the top. You can concave it, you can fold it on itself. It's very, very cool. Like, it'll hold its shape. It's really good for fractures. Do your thing.
I was just gonna flatten it again and hold it up so people can kind of see how it self-guides you. Like, you don't need to be an EMT to know how to shape this.
No, this is like...
It holds your hand the whole way.
This is soccer mom medicine, right? Like, we have tactical paramedic, we've got surgeon, all that stuff. At the very bottom is soccer mom stuff.
Yeah.
I've used this on my own brother-in-law when he broke his arm. Like, this stuff is amazing. Yeah. I've actually eaten a bowl of cereal in the wilderness out of this. I turned it into a little bowl. While I was backpacking, I had this. You can take the trauma shears actually and cut down this super easy and make small little compact things. SAM splints, I think, are 10-ish bucks. I'd have to look.
I think I got them on like a group discount of like $8 a piece.
Yeah, sounds great. I like this for a multitude of use because it's reusable-ish. Obviously, you bend the crap out of aluminum enough times, it's going to like lose its tensile strength. It's great for orthopedic injuries. It's great for rigging something up, whether you're like particularly in the backcountry. So my wilderness hunting, all those things. This is an absolute must for me. If I'm on the streets or if I'm just running around in daily life, this is not a necessity.
Yeah, if I'm going my gray man IFAC, I'm probably not bringing it.
Yeah, I have one of these at our church because there have been some orthopedic injuries at the church. I don't know if we've used one, but for $8 to have such a useful thing, I'm on board.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've actually seen quite a few firsthand stories. I don't know if they were by Sam that was like sponsoring it, but they of just people who use them while they were like mountain biking or hiking and were like, like I put the splint on and I splinted a stick to my leg, right? And I was able to like hobble back to my car 6 miles downhill or whatever.
It's super lightweight too. That thing must weigh like, I wanted to measure it.
Not even a pound.
I was going to measure it in grams. Yeah, but.
And the other good thing to point out about that, a lot of people that are buying these med kits are probably expecting to use it for like an active shooter or something crazy, super intense. But for every active shooter, there are 20 hikers that fall and break their leg. And another 50 car accidents where people get mangled. And that's the stuff that you're going to run into. So stuff like that is super useful because that's where you're going to come across. And you're just as dead if you can't walk out of your hike as you are if you get shot.
Cool.
You will end up dehydrated with altitude sickness or whatever the crap, depending on where you're at, right?
Yep.
Medical emergencies exist much more than trauma emergencies.
All right, next one. Next thing.
Ooh, let's go with, I'm going to do the quick clot.
Oh.
Pretty much. I mean, you don't even need it to be Quick Clot brand or even a combat stop bleeding gauze. The amount of blood that, I mean, I don't know if you have a different opinion on this. I say just some sort of something to pack wounds with. Because the way it works is if you are losing blood from a limb, you tourniquet it. If you lose blood from somewhere on the torso, not the chest, you pack it. And then if it's something else, you might seal it. And we'll get to that stuff later. But you definitely want something to pack into it because you're going to be losing blood from places. This is great to just fill it. Do you, Raceroni, do you believe that Quick Clot is worth buying over other gauzes to stop the bleeding?
I actually brought this in because I knew this was coming up. This has been sitting in my pocket. I'll take that shit any day.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
The one I carry.
I know you got a bunch in that box over there too.
And what is that?
That's
combat
just
gauze.
standard ass gauze. Right. This right here.
So is there any medical compound? So also, did we say what was in this medical compound for?
No.
Mac, you might want to adjust your mic so that way you're tilted up towards you.
It's a clotting agent is rubbed into the gauze there, so it's supposed to cause
impregnated is the word.
Impregnated,
which is gross.
It's been impregnated by something that's supposed to make your blood get goopy quicker.
Yeah. Now let me say this. I'm gonna, in my non-expert opinion, I'm gonna tell both of you to chuck rocks because this right here and the EMS version of it. That has the quick clot, goopiness powder in it or whatever.
Kaolin
is cheaper than your pre-packed gauze.
Yes.
What ends up being expensive is when people buy the green radio active strip ones because that is like for the military. So that way, if you pack someone full and they're going to throw them into like a MRI, it shows up on the MRI and they're like, oh, he's still got shit in him. Let's pull it out. So one, I'll say this. Everything I read online and that I've seen and what I've seen when people rip this open with the other one, the only difference is this doesn't have an X-ray blue stripe on it.
Here's where, so this is what, like $4 or something like that?
Not
$5?
even. I think it was $1.
Sure. This is $3. How much is on this one? I'm trying to cheat to you, the camera as well.
Lengthwise.
2 feet. Let me hold on. Put my spectacles on. 4.5 yards.
Yes. Have you ever packed a wound? 2 feet doesn't do shit.
I packed quite a few noodles in my time. All right.
I've pushed rope as well, but 2 feet. If you're packing a wound that's got major hemorrhage, I don't give a fuck about the kaolin and all the clotting factors. Like I've done plenty of research on that. I've got an undergrad in this shit too. Like I'm not just talking from experience only. 2 feet ain't gonna do dick.
But what if it's like packed in your IFAC in conjunction with also your...
Doesn't matter.
You say like don't even bother getting anything with quick clot.
So what
as
I
like
carry,
a first stuff it in and then stuff everything behind it.
Me personally, I have 12 feet of quick clot with the kaolin impregnation with the blue strip in my truck right now outside this place.
Yeah.
I like it because I'd rather have kaolin. And the studies are out on kaolin right now. Like North American Rescue is the one that said that kaolin was the best, and they tested on pigs, like live perfusion tissue, all this jazz. I can get way into it. At the end of the day, the average Joe individual can spend $3 on this. It's compact, it's light, it's 12 feet. Learning how to wound pack and doing it effectively is more important than one chemical.
I agree. I've still heard just bring both.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like
why not?
Stuff that quick clot shit as deep in the hole as you can, and then continue packing the other stuff behind it.
The only thing, I mean, imagine trying to fix a leak on a pipe with cornstarch. Like the amount of bleeding that's going on. Like the quick clot, I mean, it does work, but it's gonna be diluted by so much blood that.
I don't know. How about we find out right now, Mac? I'm just kidding.
Let's go.
I'm getting protective over quick clot.
You can spend extra money. You can spend extra money on quick clot, but if you want to get 12 feet of gauze, which is about what you need, because if you have extra of this, you know what you can do? Let's say I'm bleeding out right here at the radial artery. There's no tourniquet. You can pack that shit in, and then with the extra, you can wrap around it and make a pressure bandage.
Which is another product we'll see here soon. The Olays, which is not on this tit.
But this is your generic. Yeah.
But yeah, all right, cool. Great points.
I carry 3 of those little packages.
Did you bring this with you, or is this out of my box?
You can have it though. I don't care.
No, I got plenty.
Okay, cool. Anyone want this? I don't care.
Give me my needle. All right. So I will say this from what I'm hearing. You guys are saying quick clot. It's okay if you have it, but it's better to have
quantity
over this. So if you have it, that's great. It's not throw it out of your kit. If you don't have it, you don't need it. You can just get something that is far more in quality, far more in quantity, yardage, footage wise.
Yes.
And that's going to be just as effective and helpful.
If all you have is that one little package of quick clot, you're carrying a couple Band-Aids to fix a hemorrhaging wound. Like,
savage.
Yeah.
If that's all the combat gauze, you need a bunch more.
Here you go. This is the same thing. Not quick clot, but this is the same thing that Rice Runner just threw down.
Probably
and it is
8, 12, 10 feet.
It's the same yardage.
Yeah, great.
4.5 yards, 6-ply cotton.
Great.
And so in getting back to where would you put this? Where would you have
absolute
this?
essential, like just below a tourniquet?
Oh yeah.
So, but meaning
Every Joe Schmo.
But every single kit you have,
Yes.
this is in there.
Yeah, every
I carry
medical
that in my
kit.
pockets at work.
Yeah.
I have 3 of
Your
those.
little blankie.
Mhm. I could make a little quilt.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of like neck wounds, armpit wounds that you guys encounter on the law enforcement side is pretty substantial, right? And I think I've put a lot of gauze in a lot of bodies, and I thought combat gauze, if you want to call it combat gauze LE, any of that stuff, like it's good stuff. Generic ass, whatever ply cotton gauze is simple enough. So
Yes. So reminder for the there's some things that the brand matter and some that they don't. For when it's literally just fabric, generic is fine.
Yeah.
When it's literally just fabric.
It's
Sorry.
would we fabric?
All right, move on to the next item.
I love how passionate we're all getting over this. Like, fuck you, man. That's my gauze.
I just like that I found that they're pretty cheap. I like the feeling that I got a good deal on it.
Can we address this and then rule it out?
You don't need that.
Okay, yeah.
The end.
So
What is it,
this?
though?
You know, it's I mean, it's basically a bunch of Neosporin on a dressing, right? Is that what this is?
Yes. Do you know what they're going to do the moment that person's at the ER when you finally get them there?
Scrub it out.
Take a look at the wound.
Yeah.
And now it's just full of goo.
Right now, what about from a super basic first aid? Like, I'm not going to go to the hospital.
Put on Neosporin and a Band-Aid.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So same difference. That's basically what we have here. So if you have this in a kit that comes with like I see this in a lot of things where you're searching for a first aid kit, and you always want to. What we always want is to find the thing that says, okay, I want to spend $100 and have everything I need in this kit, or whatever, or $20 in this kit. And so you end up with a bunch of extras. You end up with a bunch of little other things. So this isn't like the worst thing to.
I will say this: if I burn myself out in the woods, I want that.
You want this with
until
you.
I get to where I'm going to get more help.
Yeah, and then that's it. We
valid.
And yeah, and so that's one thing where we are haven't been necessarily talking about like austere environments or like long-term backpacking, these sorts of things. But at the same time, I'd say that'd be more of a comfort thing than a life-saving thing, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right, in this case. And so this would be my kid burned his hand on the stove or his arm, whatever, and I can wrap this around it and he can be comfortable. And I just so happen to have gotten this in one of my kits. Like you wouldn't...
Until your wife gets home and you have to go to the urgent care anyways.
Right. But meaning like you wouldn't individually buy this item. Like you might get it bonus in your first aid pack. Put it
like
in
it was here.
Put it in your, the same place where you keep all your other crap in your house, your thermometer and your, that sort of like homemade, this really isn't life-saving equipment.
But that's the thing though. We're not just talking about just
Right.
life-saving equipment. We're putting things into tiers of, is it good to have in your wilderness first aid kit, in your home first aid kit? Is it IFAC, like save my life in case of an emergency, right?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's like you get this in a first aid kit, put it in don't throw it out, put it in your closet. But
yeah,
you don't go buy it for just what it is, right?
Burn shield for people. If you want to know what, again, we're talking about.
If you put it on before you burn yourself, will it help?
I bet it will to some degree. I mean, it's moisturized.
Before you burn yourself?
No, that's what I'm saying. I bet it'll keep you from getting burned.
It's petroleum based. It's flammable.
No.
Wait, Neosporin is flammable?
If it's petroleum based, it's more than likely flammable.
I don't think it's petroleum based. Neosporin?
Yes.
Really?
All that stuff is all.
We'll see.
petroleum-based.
Let's try it out again on Mac. Let's try.
Which is actually why you should actually just carry Neosporin instead of that, and then as a fire starter / stick it in your wounds for a backpacking application. But I was just getting the fact that they call it a shield. It's like shields for like if you
arrows,
have or if say arrow shields. Okay, now that I've been shot by an arrow, I'm gonna now use my shield. Anyways,
next thing.
This is for fishing.
Yeah,
for pulling hooks out of.
And surgeons.
Whoa, Rice-A-Roni, are you telling me not to jam that in the wound and try to pinch the artery with my bare
Black
hands?
Hawk Downing.
I've seen Black Hawk Down. I've seen Black Hawk Down, and you got to get that thing
comes
pinched.
up every time. No.
Have you ever used this? Do you carry these? Would be the first question. 2, have you ever used it?
I have used these in the ICU to pinch off multiple drips of like vasopressors and some other bullshit.
So not body parts.
No.
Yeah.
If you need to pull out a fish hook or something like that, you probably have your fishing kit with you anyways. I would not put these in an IFAC in particular. These are really good for like popping zits, and
what about? Hear me out with this. This is the one like instance I've seen in a video. You know, someone referencing using. And again, they were like, "Yeah, don't." What are these called technically?
This is called
forceps.
Yeah. Forceps.
I was gonna get, because we all are also we need to keep not everybody's watching the video, so
we're describing words. Yeah,
there's some people out there that are fucked. Like, I don't know, they're talking about next episode.
Yeah, forceps. So what I saw was like someone was going over essentially like with the SAM splint. If you tie it around or something like that, you can essentially lock down cord or knots or something with it to essentially maintain the tension on something. Not a tourniquet, because ideally you should just have a good tourniquet that does tension like that. But using it on gauze or whatever like that, you could pinch and leave it there and wrap the rest of the gauze around it to pin it in place to kind of keep that tension. Now,
there's a million other tools that do that anyways.
Great. All right. So what are
namely fingers.
What I'm saying is, like, if you can't because you're walking, right, and you're on your own or something.
Tape, clothespin.
Hopefully you got
carabiner.
Hey, all I'm saying, man, is that was the explanation. All right. What do you guys say here? Our emergency responders. Leave it at home. Let the people in the ambulance just have it. It's just taking up useless space.
We don't even carry it on the ambulance.
Gotcha. All right. So no need.
No need in the pre-hospital setting. There might be an obscure particular circumstance where it's worked out as a useful tool for someone, but it's not going to change any outcomes, almost certainly.
All right. Everybody get in the comments and tell Rice-A-Roni how wrong he is and how you use this to like stop your leaking bladder or whatever it is. You know,
is it also called a hemostat?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. Next thing, we got 3 products left on the table. Let's go.
What is this here?
Flip it over.
A
it's translucent bag.
Abdominal combined dressing.
Okay, this is just thicker gauze that's non-plied in the way that the other gauze is.
Just to tuck your guts back
in. I've got a million of these.
I've heard it's just like
I've got a million of these. I'm getting you one.
Okay, all right.
So it's just like a thick pad of gauze with like this overlay right here, so it all stays contained. There's a particular side that you want down. There's like this blue line here. It's a really, really good to absorb moderate bleeding. Now, we're not talking about like
splurting.
This is really good for like forehead lacerations and for
ears. Missing ears.
Sure, dude. But what you can do is you can take trauma shears and cut off a section of this and it'll kind of stay together. And you can just patch it on a forehead or something like that. This is like a really upgraded form of your rolled gauze, and it's meant to like isolate onto a body part in particular.
Like, would you use this for like big cuts and scrapes that aren't, you know, like I don't know, like a road rash.
Yeah.
I think road rash, put that on there.
So you can take like a saline flush. I don't know if we have any of these here, or like take sterile water, put it on here, keep it moist, slap that on a wound, wrap that shit around, and you're good to go. Like you're keeping it nice and moist. You're keeping it from risk of infection. It's a simple thing. This thing costs like less than $1.
Yeah.
How important is the sterile water versus just slapping it on?
Depends on your circumstance.
Right.
Like,
I just wanted to, it's just going to be more gnarly later when they have to take it off.
I mean, the moment you take this out of the package, you're out in the open environment, and then you slap it on, like there's going to be risk of microorganisms getting on there, right?
Okay, so the sterile water that's more of a sterilization thing, not like a moisture on the wound. Or
I believe sterile water is also distilled, meaning it doesn't have the fluoride, it doesn't have those other chemicals involved as well.
I won't turn them gay. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's
true.
I think it's distilled water that has been controlled for all microorganisms. As opposed to like a bottle of water, which has fluoride content, a little bit more magnesium, other things. And I nerd out about this stuff moderately, but yeah, I think this is a great product. The only problem is that I see this is beefy. This takes up just about the size of your IFAC from tip to butt. If we want to go grand thumb reference there, we are not sponsored by him and do not want to get sued by him.
Genghis thumb. Genghis thumb.
Daddy thumb.
Yeah. I don't care. He could be bad about it. He hurt me first.
I'm still, yeah.
But yeah,
different.
This is something I would keep in my truck and out of my IFAC.
Yeah. Okay. So in like a car med kit.
Yes.
What about not IFAC, but what about I'm going on a camping trip with some people who are medically minded?
Oh, hell yeah. Cool. Any disagreements there?
Nope.
All right, great. Awesome.
You probably
stuff.
recognize this now.
Yeah.
And now it's out of the package.
Now it's out of the package, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I'll get you a new one.
Pretty sure. Wait! Don't throw it. Because we do have a medical training coming up for our Church of Care team, and so I am gonna save some of this stuff that's already been indisposed to give to the guy teaching it, so that way he doesn't have to use his own shit. Yep. Anyways, last 2 products on the table.
2.
I'm going over this real quick. I'm sorry that I've been talking so much, Mac.
No, this is much more in your wheelhouse.
Mac was invited here, 1, because I love Mac, and 2, I kind of want to watch you and him interact, so that way, because there is an audience that listens to this podcast that is primarily like in the law enforcement field, and I think a lot of those guys probably haven't had a good teardown of what they're medically carrying in a long time. So it's good to have someone who brought his own actual medical equipment and what he carries for our, firefighter EMT to nitpick, right? So anyways, what's this next thing?
This is a suture. Let's not get into this. I think we're going to burn on time. This is if you know you need this, you probably know you need this. Like, this is dumb.
Right. I'd say like in your backpacking gear would be the only spot maybe to have that. Otherwise go to the ER. Okay. Right. Would that be the
for sure? And if you need a suture kit, it's non-life threatening, right?
Yeah.
Probably. It's dumb bleeding at that point usually. And are you going to suture it up all dirty out in the woods?
If you really need to. Like
if you need to.
If I'm out where I'm hunting, fuck yeah, I'm in.
Sure.
But most of the time, no. I have never purchased one of these. Don't plan on it. Want to move on?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I will say it came in my equipment, and it is one of those things where I was like, this is interesting. Never heard anyone talk about it. But here you guys go, in case you don't know what it's called or what it is when it arrives in your kit that you get off online.
Also known as stitches, if you're wondering.
Yeah, I mean, nylon monofilament, you got fishing line and a needle in here.
Like, I trust Pat, and like me personally, I trust Pat to figure it out if I'm injured and I need redneck sutures.
Well, and I'll say this.
We're going to figure it out.
I know how to stitch only because I was taught by other people who have been trained in stitching and and all that. But like for people who don't know, nurses don't even get trained on stitching.
Medics don't either,
unless they're a very particular nurse.
Yeah.
So just so everyone knows, like stitching is not as easy as like, tie a knot at the end, like fishing line, and just start running it through.
No.
That's redneck stuff. But good luck keeping the wound closed, and good luck actually doing it right and not going too deep.
Just buy super glue.
Just do
Hell
gunpowder,
yeah, brother.
Just do gunpowder, like Rambo. All right, what's this last thing here?
All you, brother.
All right, this one is a hemorrhage control bandage. It's pretty much just a bandage that's you're gonna wrap it up really tight, kind of like a cross between a tourniquet and a bandage. It's nice because it stays in place. There's really not much to it. It adds a little bit of pressure, and it keeps the bandage right on the wound.
So would you wrap that over after you use this? And,
a wound packing?
And pack something?
Fuck yeah, it's the perfect
combo. And then you take this and you get that pressure, get it to stick, right?
Dream, my guy.
That's what you have there.
Yeah, and here you guys, and people might be wondering, like, why is this so crinkly and stuff? Well, a lot of these you can buy, like, they come pre-vacuum sealed, so they fit a little bit better in a pack and an IFAC, right?
Well, they're also sealed because they usually sterilize them.
Well, sorry, there's non-vacuumed ones as well. That's what I'm saying is like why people might be wondering why it's so crunched up. But yeah, that's how I've always seen it used. Is this is the pressure wrapping that goes around the packed wound.
And would you also use this in conjunction with the SAM
splint?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is where you get that SAM, put it around. This is where you use that to then. When I've used this personally, it's to hold something in place you're already using.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
I've never seen it used solo to cover anything up, because if anything's enough that it's actually hemorrhaging, you're using something with a lot more mass. Okay.
So would that be an IFAC item or like a more general or bigger pack?
That particular product, I don't know it. Like that purple bag is
just hemorrhage wrap or sticky wrap or
emergency trauma dressing is what North American Rescue has it as. There's multiple sizes of it. Comes in a green pack. You can get it about this big by this big, so like 4 by 2 inches or so. Vacuum sealed, ready to go, fits in an IFAC well. That's an essential, at least in my opinion, because you can do mommy soccer first aid stuff with it, and you can do some massive combat bleeding stuff with it.
All right.
That purple branding wrap is Lightning, Lightning Medical, I think is what it's called. It's like You probably use it. You just don't know because it's not coming in the purple wrapping or something like that.
I have no idea. Yeah.
They're pretty big. So if you see them, I did a look into it because I was like, oh, I don't want to get knockoff shit. They make a lot of prepackaged stuff with cat tourniquets and other like North American rescue products. They're some kind of partnered manufacturer. So, but anyways, all right. So here's some more stuff for us to roll through real quick. That was in the box. EMS rolled gauze quick clot. This is 3 feet by 4 feet.
Fun fact: quick clot is not the actual element or component kaolin that is impregnated into it. So that right there is just rolled gauze.
It doesn't have the stuff in it.
Yes, that does not have kaolin in it.
Good to know.
And it's only 4 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
It's larger than the 12-foot vacuum sealed. So that's 4 feet as opposed to 12 feet. Look at the size difference. It says quick clot, so everyone thinks it's cool. Doesn't have kaolin.
Yep.
Fuck that shit.
Oh.
Kaolin also is a plant seaweed, right? Seaweed gel.
So kaolin is actually an inorganic product made out of clay, essentially.
Oh, okay.
That helps on clotting factor 12 and do this shit and blah, blah, blah. And someone's going to yell at me for things, but it's a really interesting component. I don't think seaweed might have it.
Maybe it's an alternative. I know there was talks of like if you're allergic to something, there's the seaweed, hemoglobin, whatever. All right, these are interesting. People are going to see these all the time, and they're going to want to get them because they say SWAT on them.
The old SWAT
Hey
team.
guys, both of you have worked with SWAT teams.
Mm-hmm.
Do SWAT teams carry SWAT T tourniquets?
No.
Why not though? It says SWAT T tourniquet on it.
TCCC is not recommending that particular tourniquet.
It's more complicated.
It's more complicated, and it doesn't need to be vacuum sealed. It's just the wrong product. I get what they're trying to do, but no.
Let me. So for people who don't know, you can look it up very easily. But these are elastic, like giant stretch elastic bands that you like kind of wrap and stick to themselves under tension. It's essentially like a workout resistance band.
Is it a bike tire?
No, I don't think so.
It's 26 by 1.5.
But it's rubber.
Yeah, it's rubber, and it's like stretch elastic that like it's a workout band, and you wrap it around, and the tightness of it is supposed to be
it's not
stopping the bleeding, but it's not going to get as tight as like a real leveraged tourniquet. But I will say this, since neither of you said it as a medical use case, this is what you want for yo doggy. This is like the number one use is having this as like if it's in your car or your hike med kit, it's because your dog has an injury, your dog's got a stick through its foot, whatever. And these are great for the dog because you're not getting a tourniquet to seal on your dog's leg.
So
there's only a few places on a dog. Like I've been to canine combat medicine training on this. This does work for that. However, in the state of Colorado, you're allowed to give your dog any ACLS medication that you would give a human being with different doses. But if your dog has an allergic reaction, you can give him 50 milligrams of Benadryl. Veterinary Society.
I give Takani Benadryl all the time.
Yeah,
helps
sure.
her chill.
But you can give your dog Epi. You can give your dog Benadryl. You can put Gauze on your dog. Like there's all these different things. This will work well for canine bleeds because of how it secures to their different anatomical structure, but it's not going to stop massive arterial. It just does not have that pressure. It can't it can't get 200 millimeters of mercury for pressure.
What about question being my 3-year-old? That cat tourniquet's not going to do anything for him.
Yes, it will.
It'll get all the way down on something this big, on something that's
so you're gonna have to bend the shit out of the plastic essentially.
Okay,
but you can also just hold manual pressure, dude. Like,
all right,
like give him the E minor chord on his freaking arm or whatever it is.
Okay, so that's what you. But so would this be an application for that, or it's just not getting tight enough?
It's not going to get tight enough.
All right, then never mind.
The reason that those cat tourniquets work so well is, I mean, if you've ever put one on, when you start getting that leverage from that windlass and you're twisting it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you were taking something that was 2 inches long and shrinking it to half that, and then a quarter of it.
Yeah,
it's
exponential. And man, I tell you what, when someone's putting it on right. It is. I had a unreal ring the most recent time someone threw it on and didn't hold back. And I love the guy, but he definitely made me know when someone's doing it right and when it's not. because it's way past the point of uncomfortable. It's like so much further past that than most people expect.
If you're applying a lot of this stuff, be ready for people to not look like it's helping. They will not be happy.
All right, these are North American. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, this one is North American. These are
hyphens are.
So there's a lot of stuff in the media about these, but these are hyphen vent chest seals.
Oh, be careful with vent.
Twin pack. Well, it says vent on them.
It does say
hyphen
vent. Yes.
Chest seal twin pack. I'm just reading the label.
Sure.
These are not. Well, I'll let you explain, Rice-A-Roni. But there's a lot of contention because there's recently some medical personnel on the X saying these are useless. They don't do anything. Better to just stuff the wound packet, whatever. And it's quote unquote controversial, and all the medical autists are like up in arms and arguing about it. Now, from what I've seen, these are used primarily you got an entry exit wound from rebar stick through your windshield. You have bullet wound, antlers, whatever, arrow. You put one, and they say twin pack. A lot of people are like, oh, sick, twin pack, so there's two in here. No, these are two. These are two. If you rip them apart and you only put one in your IFAK, you only have one chest seal.
Then you're gonna die,
and you're gonna still be bleeded out the back hole. So these are twin packs.
Well, it's not meant for blood though. That's the thing.
Sure, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're.
But you're still gonna have a hole in your back. So if you're gonna use them, and if you want them and you believe in them, you're gonna keep them together. You're not going to separate them. But Rice-A-Roni, what's the difference between the two of these? A lot of people see the white and the gray, and they're like, what's the difference?
Tactical versus non.
Yeah, well, also, I think one's called compact. That's the biggest thing, but people fail to read.
In all honesty, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing that's the case.
I think it's only a size thing. That's my because I think they look
There's nothing
a different
wrong
color.
with the smaller, whiter
the smaller
product.
one's okay. If you really need this one because the small white one isn't doing it. Yeah, your hole's really big.
And that's one point I did want to bring up. I personally keep these North American Rescue hyphen vented chest seals in my kits, with IFAK, truck, whatever it might be, because they are vented. If you get a non-vented chest seal, all it's going to do is just stop the wound, like basically plug the hole. But when you have that inspiration-expiration phase, when you're breathing, it's not going to vent out the bad air that's creating that positive pressure that you don't want.
Back to the decompression needle, right?
Same thing.
So this is essentially the same as that decompression needle.
It's in conjunction.
It's supposed to let air out, not let air in.
Well, it's not air, it's pressure. You have a pressure problem. You want a negative pressure in the interthoracic cavity. Like right now, when I take a deep breath in, that's actually my diaphragm
expanding.
No. Well, it is expanding. But
Negatively pressurizing so your lungs
it's
can
going
expand.
and changing, and it's allowing the amount of volume to increase.
Okay.
It's allowing the negative pressure to do what it wants to do and bring air in. If you don't have that negative pressure, when you get shot, you have a problem. So you want to change and close up the system with a vent, and you want to decompress if their lung truly is collapsed and they got signs of tension pneumothorax, which is a totally different podcast. And you want to create the appropriate pressure. And it's this thing that we can't get into tonight. This is great for entry and exit wounds. However, entry wounds and sometimes exit wounds are very tough to identify. There's been I had a dude Halloween last year. There was a bunch of people that got shot at a house party in an undisclosed location in the Denver metro area. And we thought the dude had gotten shot 5 times. Turns out it was 9.
Damn.
He had a bunch of chest seals placed by law enforcement prior to our arrival. We were on scene within 5 minutes.
We always mess it up.
No, it was good. There was a bunch of chest seals. The dude lived and had been shot a bunch of times and we couldn't find him. It turns out 5.56 millimeters small, going 2,900 feet per second through someone is quick. And it just goes right through. It doesn't create a bunch of external injuries. It's the internal injuries we're worried about. So identifying where your wounds are is definitely tougher than just slapping this on. So when in doubt, slap that on somewhere if you feel like we're getting all sorts of psilocybin distorted here.
I just freaking smacked my head on the pole.
So, okay. So I guess for the people so we're talking about chest seals.
Yes.
And chest seals are like, there's 3 things you put in your stop the bleed kit in my tiny little training. You get tourniquet, gauze, chest seal, right? So
Sure.
But meaning, so then is this to stop bleeding or
No.
is it, so then
No,
what,
like-
right? So what is, so if it's not vented, is it doing anything at all to help?
It is doing something. It's closing the system, but it's not allowing for the as fast of restoration of the negative pressure that you want.
Okay.
Because if it's not vented, you have to burp it, right?
Yes, but you burp it once and it only does so much. Like, it's going to take a while to essentially reinflate that lung. And you can go look up videos, people. Like, everything I'm talking about, go look up gastric insufflation to see like what your abdominal cavity looks like. Go look up chest tube placement. Go look up intrathoracic pressure. There's so many videos. There's plenty of YouTube guys that we know that put out information on these products too that are well above our heads.
Check out Prepmedic. We like him.
He's a dick.
That's funny. They're friends. All right.
I need to text him back, actually.
These go in which med kit? Which bag do you think you recommend them to go in?
Any and all.
Any and all.
Top
people.
need. Just get training, please.
Get training. Honestly,
Please.
they're really fun to apply. You get to put them on a homie's chest if he's brave and he doesn't know what's about to happen, and then you get to rip all his chest hair off.
Waxing.
Yeah, if they're hairy, it's funny.
All right, last one here from this box. These
Tactical
are
tampon? What is that?
no, they're just battle wrap, but again, they're
Gay.
well, you'll see like they're included with a lot of stuff, and I'm pretty sure they're cheaper, but they still have the same amount of yardage. No, they're actually bigger. These are 6 feet. Oh no, sorry, not that bigger. They're 6 feet by 4
Inches.
inches. Yeah. It's
Sure.
so these are more narrow and like would be better suited for like, you could use them for stuffing, but they're better suited for like wrapping tension on.
Is
packed
there any
wounds.
gauze on this?
No gauze, from what I
It's
understand.
a tactical ace wrap. Who cares?
Okay, well they came in the packs, my man.
Just buy an ace wrap at Walgreens.
And then last one, here's what you'll see. This is like essentially topicals, and you can see, oh, actually, no, it doesn't have the list, but there's a QR code to scan to see the list for people who care. But if you,
I wonder if your phone's trying to scan it right now.
it might be, but this is like all of your, usual kind of like not emergency stuff, but good to
Hemorrhoid
have.
creams.
Yeah. Dude, I have a story for you guys. But anyways, I'm
Keep
just
it to
going to
yourself.
pull it out and then we can put it all back in. But I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to look through this because some of this I think is actually like have it in everything. Have it in your
Yeah.
IFAC because a lot of people think first aid kit has to be an emergency. Dude, there's stuff in here that I'm like, if I'm out there on my own and I start having the diarrhea, like I don't want that to take me out from getting back home to help in dehydration. There's anti-diarrheal stuff in here. Anything rice-a-roni or mac or Pat as well,
Yeah.
because Pat's an avid hunter. You guys want to look through these at all and see like there's aspirin, right? Poison ivy stuff.
I'm guessing there's Benadryl in there, but the number one life-saving medication for allergic reactions, especially severe, is epinephrine. I'm not going to say use an EpiPen because they're so expensive and it's like morally wrong, but consider getting a source of intramuscular epinephrine and learn how to use it, because a lot of people, whether it be snake bite, whether it be food poisoning, something like, or not food poisoning, but like an
Bee stings,
anaphylactic
allergic
reaction,
reactions.
bee stings, right? Benadryl is cool and it helps out one component of an allergic reaction. Epinephrine's killer. Like, it is a fantastic med. I keep one in my wife's backpack for when she's at the gym and all the kids are running around with all the hot moms. Like, she knows how to administer intramuscular epinephrine to a kid if there's an anaphylactic reaction. Like, that's cool. I think that's way more important than aspirin because there's a lot of other things that aspirin can do. Like,
You're saying these words. I don't think people know how to acquire that. Intramuscular epinephrine. How does one acquire that for an emergency scenario so they have it on them to treat others or themselves?
make friends with a EMT and or paramedic.
Or a veterinarian.
Get in, or a vet. Yeah, it's the same drug.
Weirdo. Are you saying that we're not friends? Because you've not given me any intramuscular epinephrine.
I have
Do you
a
want
friend-
expired?
I have a
I have a lot of expired.
good. If it's expired, it's still good, right?
But I mean,
It's still
it
was
like
potency.
An
yeah.
EpiPen. Like, I know a lot of people will get a prescription for an EpiPen, whether or not there's allergies.
yeah.
If your insurance can help you, that's cool. I get it. Not everyone can afford a $600 pen that expires 18 months later.
Mm-hmm.
I I've never bought an EpiPen, so
And
I'm kind of talking against myself here.
No, for sure. And I think that because like things like Benadryl, they're not fast acting enough to save a life in the moment of extreme anaphylactic shock. And so, especially with small people, small children, when their airways are closing up, things are going on. But to like lots of the meds you just dumped on the table made me think of actually when I'm traveling abroad, I have a first aid kit that I bring abroad with me. And that is like, that's where and I think this would apply to the hiking as well, where you're going, okay, like hiking, backpacking, and also like foreign travel. I keep a tourniquet and I keep gauze in the bottom of that thing because anything could happen anywhere in that case. I do keep gauze, tourniquet, chest seal, and that first aid kit. But then for I keep a lot of other little just goodies with me that they're mostly for comfort, but also they will help you on a 14-day trip. And like,
you're talking like Dramamine for
So and also I'm usually taking people with me on these trips, and so it's like to be able, but Dramamine, and then also whatever Band-Aids, little things. I carry tampons and pads in there for
tampons are great for nosebleeds, dude. Not bullet wounds,
right? But also for or just like if you're traveling in a group of people and you're able to say, and there's someone with you, and we're moving past for a second from life-saving first aid into like other areas. But I'm traveling with a bunch of college girls on this like trip, right? Sure. And dudes, but girl doesn't have what she needs. I got the thing for her, but then. Biggest thing, stomach issues, antidiarrheal, all that stuff. If you're going to be gone for another 20 days, that's going to make a big, big difference. And so as far as, an IFAC to me is really like immediate life-saving equipment. And then I carry other stuff in other areas that are more comfy things, So in my truck, I've got the tourniquets, the stop the bleed stuff. And then if I'm traveling, that's where I start sprinkling in the other things that aren't going to be readily accessible to me.
Close the door.
So I make sure to bring things that, that's actually part of this whole conversation would actually be while you're building out your kits, put the things in there that one are going to save a life, but two aren't accessible to you. If I'm driving down the road and I'm pooping my pants, I can go to Walgreens, right?
Sure.
If I'm in the middle of a sandy place, I don't have that.
Yeah.
That.
I'm not taking Middle Eastern meds.
Exactly. And that's where like also same thing, even like with EpiPens, and that sort of stuff. If you're in America for the most part, and if you're in a city, you can get medical attention very quickly by dialing 3 numbers on your phone, and they're going to come stick you with that pin. Now, you might need it a little faster, but they're going to come help you out. If you're in the middle of nowhere and you got a big group of people with you you're responsible for, have epinephrine, have those sorts of things that are not accessible to you. So when you're building out your kits, think about what is accessible to you, what's not, and what you need to use immediately.
Yes, and then train under stress, please, dear God.
Pat, will you do me a favor and just make sure we're still recording?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to just have you guys take a look at these. So these are Olays. I became a big believer of them after I just did an IFAC class with a guy who's emergency search and rescue and also attached to a SWAT team as their medic. And Olays seem to me like for either $6 or $8, these seem to me like the best of both worlds for wound packing and then also pressurizing like around a wound, as well as getting leverage. And we went through some things of how Olays are great for like a head wound injury and like wrapping around an eye, especially if there's a broken orbital, as well as using one of these if needed to be an extra pressure point, this like ball here. If you guys can see on camera, right, there's like this divot here, this cup. It's a nice hard plastic cup. Putting that under a tourniquet to apply more pressure to those
over a smaller surface area.
Yeah, especially like the groin wounds. Like if it's kind of upper, closer to the groin.
If you have really tiny pee-pee.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I got one of those.
So,
It's
just
gross.
curious what your guys' thoughts are on these. I had never seen them until I just did my last IFAC class.
Is this an acronym?
No, I don't know. It's just called OLAES. OLAES is how you find them. OLAES modular bandage, and they have a good amount of
Orbital
rep.
laceration, something probably. That'd be my guess. Truth be told, dude, never seen that. However,
You want to open it?
Neither have I.
It's your
I've never
call.
seen it.
I'll let you open it and keep it if you want. You can use
Sweet.
it for training or whatever.
Is the particular person, we're doing this off camera, is the particular person you were working with this individual?
I don't know. Not by that name.
Is it in the county we currently reside in?
No.
Okay, different county?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then.
But anyways, all right. I'm gonna sacrifice one because they're so expensive.
For the boys.
But
What was the price point on these?
$6, $8, but that was from like, I will say that is from my resources. They may be more expensive if you don't have like cat card discount stuff. But here, take it out, play around with it. Yeah.
So this
And the
is-
yellow one's the same thing, just a little bit bigger.
It's more rigid than I thought. I will say the first thing I did was see what the pressure is on this because we talked about like femoral artery bleeds or like orbital stuff. That's pretty resilient. I'm putting, I don't know, 10, 15 pounds of pressure on that and it's not bending at all. This kind of just looks like an Israeli bandage or
It is a lot, and then in here is more packing that you could pull out. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know how many footage that is.
Oh,
But
yeah?
You stuff that stuff in there,
It's more,
and then you wrap it.
it's more than your 2 feet that you have in your dumbass quick clock.
Savage, bro.
I'm so glad that you jumped on that with me.
Dude, just doing me like that,
We
bro.
probably should have put a disclaimer out here that Mick, Pat, and I, as well as Mac, like Pat and I go back to like pre-pubescent days, and Mick and I go back a decade. So us
That's
talking
crazy,
shit's all
dude.
out of love.
Yeah, it is. I really do love you so much.
I love you guys. Yeah, our text thread that we had today was a lot of like, "F you, man," like you little bitch. So no, it's all out of love. This looks like a pretty cool product. I don't know, like if I'm needing this little plastic orb thing, I'm in a pretty weird circumstance, but this looks like an Israeli bandage with extra materials that could be useful. And it kind of comes packaged just like an Israeli bandage or like that emergency trauma dressing. Or can you pull up the lightning purple thing real quick?
It's in a different box. It's too late.
Oh,
man.
it's too
It's
late.
gone.
Okay. This looks like a cool product, especially for $6 to $8, but I have to mess around with it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the way I saw it best used was, in the need, packing a wound and wrapping it around. What the hell is that? Is that Takani with a water bottle
Yep,
of Zin?
yeah, it's my just dog chewing on my my
she
discharge.
wants the Mick, too.
But the other thing was, it was specifically like a head wound, wrap it around, and if you have that fractured orbital in your face, like, put this over the eye socket to kind of help keep that from getting
Sure.
pressurized and
Or-
jamming your cheekbone
What
deeper.
about spots,
Testicles.
Yeah, spots where you'd be wound packing.
Yeah.
and wound packing and you can't
TQ.
to put a tourniquet on.
Sure, that's gonna
you-
gonna increase the pressure you're applying on that gauze that's inside the wound
so
cavity,
you-
right?
You pull that gauze, stuff it, and then use this. Place that little, place the little cone or whatever on the wound, and then wrap it up.
I don't see a disadvantage, but that's like purely a spontaneous reaction. So I don't know. I don't have evidence. I don't have data.
I was going to say this for training, but do you want to take it home before we do our next medical training and play with it in the mirror? I'll let you take this home.
No, because I leave for a.
Gone for a few weeks for training.
I'm gone for a month for a training, starting this week.
Why was that so sketchy?
I don't want to say shit on a podcast. I don't care how many viewers you have, whether it's 2 or 2 million. Like,
You don't have to say it. It's all right. I don't
Yeah.
want you to feel pressured.
I don't even know when this is airing, but I feel weird being like, hey guys, I am this person and I'm leaving my wife alone at home.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Hey, don't worry. You don't have to justify. I was just offering you if you want to play around with it more. You know?
It's cool. And I'll probably just buy one. Honestly,
will you just throw that back in that packaging and we'll just save it as another training one?
Is it too late to talk about the med stuff? Because we had that little bag of all the topicals.
Yeah. Please do talk about it. Gluten-free boy.
Call back to it. Yeah.
Allergy boy.
Exactly. I'm very needy as far as all my.
If you guys want to know how to take down a Syrian police officer, just throw bread.
Some rye bread just straight to the grave. Toast.
While you're in Pueblo County.
A fate worse than death, being in Pueblo County, really. But
go ahead.
It's not so much for like a emergency kit, but you can buy cases out there that will come with like a bunch of antibiotics and anti-nausea. You have to, apply. You don't have to get a prescription, but you have to provide some of your information so that they make sure you're not.
I was looking into those, and they send you like essentially like the basic antibiotic like use, and a lot of them are, equipping the more like missionary type work, right?
Yeah.
Like we're going to be in this third world country and very far from hospitals.
You had me at missionary.
I bet I did. Anyways, but I've seen that as well. I can't remember the company's name, but there's a company that does it where all you do is like speak to a doctor after applying and then let them know your use case, and then they send you a box full of those.
Jace Case?
Jace Case.
We're not sponsored by them either, but would recommend that. Not in the first aid area necessarily, but it's really good to have. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Like that anti-nausea has saved me before, because there's been times where I'm getting super dehydrated on a camping trip and I'm getting very ill, and it brings me back from the brink. So would really recommend that for a lot of use cases.
Yeah, and one thing for people to know, because I know there's a lot of prepper people who are like antibiotics, like real antibiotics.
Yeah.
I mean, they still expire.
Topical antibiotics.
No, they're not topical.
Oh, they're
Really?
legit.
They're oral.
Yeah,
they're
but
real.
But they do go bad.
Are they? Well, never mind. I'm going to get way too in the weeds. I was going to ask if
Ask whichever one you want.
like are they broad spectrum, like gram negative, gram positive?
You can buy different kits, but they'll send like the base kit. You get like 3 different kinds of antibiotics.
and they're all like oral.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like
one of them is like
biggest ones.
penicillin.
Yeah,
Like your
penicillin.
standard,
Yeah.
Okay.
stuff.
Amoxicillin probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
it's like
cool.
penicillin,
Which is-
amoxicillin, and
I saw Jay's case and I was like, do I need to pay this money for it, or can my boy Rice Aroni just hook me up with these so that way I don't need to pay for it?
No.
All right.
Yeah, that's where-
would recommend those though. They're great. I mean, there's a whole bunch. I think the base kit comes with like 10 meds.
Yeah.
And each one of them could be potentially life saving, at least vacation saving.
Yeah. True. Especially if you're like, oh man, that looks gnarly and we don't want to go to the doctor's office in Guatemala.
Yes, precisely.
I'm going to say this too as a caveat. Like, do not go and take medications that you have not researched and you are not familiar with. Like, from a pharmacological standpoint, the amount of contraindications, like the amount of bad things that can happen to your body if you take the wrong medications is substantial. So please be diligent. Talk to a doctor. We're not advising you to do dumb things.
Last thing I have on the table here is this emergency blanket. It's pretty dense. People are like, damn, that's a brick, dude. That's a lot thicker than the tiny little fold-up Mylar emergency blanket I have. These are from, I believe, England is where these are made, but Blizzard EMS blanket. And these have a legit, like, soft gram fleece insulated or polyester, and underside, and then that like typical Mylar exterior. So these are actually like quite a bit of step up from like just your usual one and done disposable ones. And you can find these online. They are under the brand, their brand's literally called Blizzard EMS, and they're pretty great. But this was recommended to me specifically from guys who do search and rescue, and they're like, I can't tell you how many times someone would have made it had they just had something like this that was, a little bit denser material than their emergency Mylar blankets.
Because those little emergency blankets are caca. I mean, there's a couple applications you can use them for, but really, you actually have to use them with other stuff. Like you wrap them in that and then wrap them in a sleeping bag. Like they're like, so this, how large is this? Did you
dude, it's huge, man. It's
does it have dimensions on there?
No, because it's freaking the Brits, bro. I don't think the Brits put their dimensions on stuff.
Cubits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I
saw it's 250 grams, which means, 250 grams divided by 2.2, and you can do all that shit.
This guy.
Yeah.
But I think a blanket is a really important part for a lot of kits. Like
where you're at, yeah. In particular.
Well, and then also when you lose a lot of blood, you lose a shit ton of heat.
Yes.
Like a lot of times, and we've seen it before, where people have some hemorrhaging and they start experiencing hypothermia when it's only like, it's not super cold out. It might be like 40 degrees.
That's the thing. Like ideal body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6, right? Like we know that the human body wants to be at that, and blood does a lot of the heating and cooling and HVAC of your system. And so having this to help preserve what body heat you do have and decrease the exposure from the elements is fantastic. So I'm not familiar with this product.
I'm not either, but I'd be super interested in carrying that because I have some crappy little red cross blankets that they don't do squat. They're terrible.
Yeah, I think this application is for if you live in the mountains, keep it in your car. Otherwise, bring this in your backpacking stuff. Or if you're a search and rescue guy,
It'd be good for first responders in general.
That's true. Yeah. And there is something too about like just bedside manner for perspective for first responders. Whether this thing's actually doing anything to save somebody's life, like
you're talking comfort care and like patient relationship.
Yeah, exactly. If it's cold out and someone's kind of shivering, but they're going to be freaking fine, well, that's okay. But open this up and put it around them. It's going to help.
Yeah.
Like this is a fairly versatile, not very big piece of gear for your bigger med kits.
Not an IFAC piece, but I'd be interested to mess around with it.
I'll definitely put it in the car. I had a dude that died right in front of me from hypothermia, so that
was he drunk?
No, he was not. He
was
very elderly. Just wandered out into the street, cut up his feet really bad and fell down, and then just stayed there for who knows how long. But by the time we got there, I was putting my crappy little blankets on him, and he was already very deep into hypothermia. So who's to say if maybe it could end up being
Was he shivering?
No.
He's dead.
He's too far.
Yep.
But still, this would be better than what you had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, and I think too a lot of it, like this probably be overkill, but I do still think there's a purpose for those Mylar ones, especially when someone's just got blood loss, and just like wrapping them up while you're moving them if you need to move them. So you can get them to where they're going to get the emergency services to save their life. But all right, we went through a lot of good stuff. Mac, how about you bring it to the table? Because all my med kits are pretty much got the contents that we've just gone over and rated already. So Mac, if you're ready, and we can blur out stuff too in video if there's any badges on your gear. But if you want to take anything off or just bring over your med contents, you can do that.
There is not any badging on mine. However, my car got sent to the fleet because it had its check engine light come on, and my med kit sits right next to my. So I don't have my main thing with me, but
all right. Well, I'll save the show and I'll grab one of my med kits.
Yeah, they're pretty standard. I mean, a lot of the stuff we've gone over is what's already in there. On top of that, just on my person, I carry a couple extra tourniquets, a bunch of that compact packing gauze, a pair of trauma shears that isn't in my IFAC kit in case I leave it in the car, and then a bunch of gloves.
Quick aside before I go pee. For those of you that want to carry a window breaker on your knife, which is moderately standard on a decent knife nowadays, have you ever tried opening the door or opening the passenger door? Consider that.
All right. While we take a quick break, we'll be back here in a moment. All right. Great. Good job, Mac. Mac, will you pass me a nice? I haven't had any yet.
Yes.
And now my hands are free to drink one.
What flavor do you want?
Oh, I don't care, Mac. Grab whichever. Here on the table.
Give him the one you don't like.
Is the Sherber Response or a Sherber emergency response car kit, right? And so this is pretty cool, I think, in a bag setup. It Velcros onto a double buckle headrest attachment. So you buckle it around your headrest, keep it in place, and then you just Velcro it on there. And if you need to rip it off, you rip it off. And it's got some nice little MOLLE panels on the front. The interior construction is not great. The seams are not good, but they're all right. So anyways, since good old Mac doesn't have his med kit, I just figured we'd have, and this is exactly as it comes. I haven't done anything. So again, just a real quick med kit teardown from Rice-A-Roni here. Rice, go ahead, open it, and then let's just go through what like comes in it, so that way people can see like pre-stocked med kit already packaged. The only thing I've done is take things out of their plastic contents and put them in zippers. You know what I mean?
And we're breaking down a car kit.
This is a car med kit. This is not listed as a IFAC, I believe. I believe it's listed as a car med kit.
So I wanted to point this at Mick just because I thought it was funny. This is just a 4x4 dressing. This costs like 19 cents, but it's quick clot branded, so it's probably $2.
I mean, all of it came together. I have no idea.
4-ply 4-inch by 4-inch hemostatic dressing. So this may actually have a hemostatic in it, so maybe I'm wrong on the other things. If you need a hemostatic 4x4, I'm not sure what you're using it in.
My hemorrhoids. I had a serious hemorrhoid flare up, and I legit almost like called the hospital because I was like, "This is too much blood."
Sure.
We're discussing this on next week's podcast.
No, we are. That's a teaser.
Oh my goodness!
I'm
look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how centered I am on the tape.
Oh, it can see everything. It can see everything.
Okay, cool. Triangular bandage. This is good for dislocated shoulders, various injured upper arm things, like you fracture your humerus or something. It just holds it in place. You're talking Boy Scout stuff, so we're going to move on.
If I tie it around my head, will I look like I'm in Nam?
That's what the Olays is for.
Oh, right. No, I mean, before getting injured.
Over here is various forms of gauze as well. Huge fan. Oval iPads, they can go to hell. All you have to do is take trauma shears, cut this in half, and you have an oval iPad. So I'm not knocking Mick's.
No, I don't feel like you are at all. This was about $150 with. Ooh. Keep in mind, as it comes with like its headrest setup.
Yeah,
and all
there's
that.
Some stuff over here.
It comes with those high vent.
Yeah, and
these are probably the reason it was 150.
Yeah, because this pack right here is what, $30-$40 or something stupid.
I think they're 60 now.
Jeez Louise.
And,
thanks, Obama.
And part of what we're talking about too is unlike where we're shitting on Gauze sizes or whatever. The main thing being be versatile, have the mindset to go. I can cut this because I have shears in my stuff, right?
Yes.
Right. To be like, okay, I don't need 48 types of gauze. I need one good type of gauze, and then I can cut it. I can use it in these, right? So that's like kind of like, to the application you need it to be in.
Yeah.
We have the barbecue joint antiseptic towelettes for when you have a good rack of ribs or something. No, but I mean, honestly, these are good for like whether you're camping or whatever, just cleaning off your hands of whether it's blood, dirt, barbecue sauce, doesn't matter. It's good. Tape. We haven't really talked about this, but I don't know if you've ever tried to like do this with tape when your adrenaline's high. What I do, a little pro tip, you'll find this on all fire trucks and ambulances that I come across, is flag it right here. Take a 1/4 inch or so, put it like this. Whether you got ski gloves on, whether you got your nitrile gloves on, you always have the ability to pull.
I will say I didn't pre-stage this, but what I usually do too for like my actual...
Do you do the triangle?
Yep, I do the...
Yeah.
Just fold over and back like that. Which is also how I stage my TQs with that Velcro tab, so that way I can get them out quick.
I saw Mac do that as well. This just looks like Curlix, also known as rolled gauze. I think it's less ply than your regular gauze, but it's good for wrapping up like you hurt a finger or something. It doesn't matter. It could be a minor head wound, which, fun fact, everyone, head wounds bleed a lot, even if they're very superficial. Just have children. They'll show you that right here. Purified water. This is an ophthalmic solution, meaning it goes in your eyes. So this is good for washing out eyes, whether it's shrapnel, whether it's dirt, whether it's
Pepper spray.
Pepper spray. Good point.
I will say this.
I got a trick for you though.
I didn't know that when I proposed to Billie Jean that I was marrying the woman with the biggest eyes in the world that have magnets behind them, because stuff like beelines to go in her eyeballs.
Yep.
And so this right here was like one of the things I was like, oh, why have I not just been carrying that in my car anyways?
And is this if you can put it in your eyes, is this could you use this in the same application you were talking about earlier with the
Flushing wounds.
the big pressure
Oh,
band,
the abdominal pad,
abdominal
big gauze.
pad, right?
Yeah.
So like, you could take this out and squirt it on there.
I can't.
Right.
I can't tell you like you should do that.
Right.
Would I feel comfortable doing it personally?
Right.
Not operating under a doctor's
Right,
license as a
right.
paramedic.
Right.
Yeah, different ball game.
Right.
Like,
yeah. But like if I'm gonna squirt it in my eyes, I could squirt it on my blood wound.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is multiple use.
So there's going to be a lot more salinity to that potentially than standard sterile water and saline. I believe, but I could be wrong.
Mhm.
I hope someone lights me up in the
Right,
comments.
but wouldn't that, in my basic understanding, wouldn't that be better for killing bad stuff if there's
No,
more saline,
so-
more salinity?
No,
Not
salt doesn't kill the
necessarily.
bad stuff
Well,
outright.
Yeah,
Okay.
A lot of salt will.
Okay.
You're talking like, so the ocean is 5% salinity plus or minus, the Pacific Ocean at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your natural isotonic solution that you have of sodium chloride in your bloodstream is 0.9%. So there's this entire range. Like if you just boil pasta water, it's going to be a varying salinity. And I can't tell you at what salinity wounds do well or where there's an actual, like, let's get to Lord of the Rings, like salted pork, right? I don't know what the salinity is there for preservation and what's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
All
All right.
next stuff.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, look at this. That's a nice product right
Hey,
there.
look at all those blue gloves, dude.
And
Aren't those
then-
pretty nifty?
Yeah, here's the thing though. They don't need to be individually wrapped. I would probably throw it in a Ziploc, like the Ziploc snack bag, and just have like
you
12
know
of them in there.
You know what? Like I said, I literally just staged it
Oh, I
so
know.
it would be here for you to tear apart.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
One thing, if you're gonna have like a universal kit, get the large gloves. Like,
Yes.
especially when your hands are wet and sweaty from the stress
Yeah.
of you going to or
That's a
dealing
good
with some of this. Always get larger gloves. I've got average, probably medium-sized hands,
Yeah.
and I only
Like,
carry
put them
the.
in. Put those puppies in. Ooh, yeah. All the people who want it. There'll be more of that later
Mm-hmm.
on the Patreon.
The OnlyFans.
No, you're
Only
too-
phalanges.
Yeah. Mac, you're 100% right, because I remember at the jail I always went for the double XL gloves.
Yes.
Because I'm like, dude, I can't waste time trying to put these puppies
Mhm.
on.
And it's always quick. You got to put them on quick. So always, I don't even carry anything but extra large gloves.
Yeah.
Size up.
Yep. I'm a tiny dude to begin with, and I rock larges when stress hits the fan. That's my like go-to. Normally I can wear mediums. Like in the surgical suite, I'm a small to medium, but in the field, I'm about a large. When I'm sweating
Yes.
and I just got off a fire or something like that.
Rice-A-Roni, this little black mat here, this thing. Flip it over so people can see. All right, what does that look like to you guys?
Is that a Sam splint for your finger?
Well, it is, I think.
Is
It
that for-
looks
is that-
Pretty
kinda-
sure it's a splint for your finger.
Is that
I
if you-
thought this
if
was
it's
to
to
keep
break-
someone from
Mm.
breaking their teeth.
I think it looks delicious.
Well, I did
kinda
bite
wanna
into it. I did bite into it.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
it's a
oh, that's
Necco
pretty good.
wafer.
It looks like an airhead, or if you break your pecker after visiting a woman of the night and you got to get in your truck.
Don't joke about that.
Sorry. I don't know. What is it?
It's a finger splint.
Okay, that's.
I will say this: if you're afraid of breaking your teeth from pain, you could also bite on it, and I think you'd be
You're
okay.
just gonna sink your teeth into aluminum, though, dude. If like
Not gonna break them.
the aluminum's gonna scrape the shit out of your teeth.
I'd
though.
rather have scraped teeth than shattered no teeth.
That's true.
Valid. I don't know what application I'd use this in.
Finger splint. I broke my fingy and I gotta drive without it hurting more.
I'm gonna go back to soccer mom.
Tape.
I'm gonna go to soccer mom medicine and buddy tape that shit.
Yeah, okay, whatever, bro.
Thank you, whoever made this bag.
Well, and it is hard. Anytime you buy a pre-built kit, the main way they're marketing to you is by like the number of items in it. They're like 148 items.
Yeah.
But it comes with 100 Band-Aids, right?
Yeah.
We have a fucking Sharpie and we have this.
Right.
Okay,
So
I will say the Sharpie, I think, literally actually edged out a couple other kits because a lot of kits would come in with shit with no way of marking anything. And the fact that I got a fresh squeaky Sharpie with this one, I was
ready to go.
because here's the thing too, what a lot of people don't know and what I'm about to review here is that everything you've seen, even the emergency blanket, you can use your HSA health savings account or flex savings account to buy tax-free. If you buy Sharpies or you buy the not splints, but the shears or things like that, or the eye wash outside of these kits, you cannot buy them with your HSA tax-free. So that's what I'm saying is like, there's certain things like this when you're thinking about in the way of saving money. And if you have those accounts and you want to leverage them, especially a flex savings that goes away at the end of the year. And you're like, shit, I got $3,000 in my flex savings that needs to be spent. These are a great way to do it. And some of them come with stuff that you wouldn't be able to buy otherwise. So I hope that kind of clears up why there's a Sharpie and why I really wanted the Sharpie.
The Sharpies aren't breaking the bank. Like, I don't care about the tax on the Sharpie.
No. But when you're looking,
I'm with Mac.
All right. Fine. What I'm saying is when you're looking at these pre-made kits, and one's coming with something already in it that is just like put it in and forget it, and it's coming with an extra couple pairs of gloves, and it's things that you will buy separately to complete the kit. That is not going to be, tax deductible from your HSA and stuff. Then it's like, okay, that ekes out why you might get one product over another.
Outside of the one I have at work, I've built all my own kits because there's always the little.
Did you spend your own money? I'm curious.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Because I know this guy hasn't bought a medical product in like 30 years.
They were gifted to me.
Yeah. Is that the acronym you're using now? Gifted.
They were gifted.
Acquired. It's acquired when you're in the military.
It's tactically acquired in the military. I would never do that. None of these products were liberated from a warehouse that was collecting dust.
Anyways. Okay. All right. Rice-A-Roni, as we come to a close here, help me understand your thoughts and kind of the closing arguments on this. Is there anything you'd really do to tear, like, one scale of 1 to 10? I'm not a super highly medical trained person, metaphorically, and I see this available for like $130, $150 somewhere in there, and I could just buy it, install it in my car in my headrest. It's big, it's red, and it's there in my car for me or my family to use. How do you feel about that price point and what's coming in it?
I can't talk to price at all because I feel like that's a disservice.
Sure.
Overall, it's good content, right? We didn't even get into this, but I think people have an understanding of what this emergency trauma dressing is. Overall, you've got everything from boo-boos to big bleeds, and it's big, bright, and red, which I know a lot of tactical people want coyote brown or olive drab green or black to be tactical, but if this is a car kit for you and your family, red's a good thing. Like,
yeah,
hey, this is what you need in case of emergency. And
especially I'm thinking in like this goes in Billie Jean's car. This one does.
For sure.
And I'm thinking like if car rolls over, I want to be able to fucking see this if there's no light.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 just for that. It's nothing too fancy. I haven't bought medical supplies in over 30 years, according to Mick, so I can't put a price point on it. But quality-wise, I'd get rid of some things, substitute them for some others that I have laying around. But overall, yeah, it's good stuff, man.
Cool. All right. Well, and I would say like just about every other kit, other than the ones that came with the decompression needles, pretty much came with the same stuff for the most part. Some of them were more expensive because you pay the tactical tax, right? You pay the tax for the molly and the webbing on it to go onto your plate carrier and chest rig. But overall, that's kind of what we're looking at here. So, cool. Well, I appreciate your guys' opinions and thoughts. I do want to hand it over to you guys for kind of like, final closing statements and just kind of thoughts and stuff. It doesn't have to be one sentence, right? Like we could talk a little bit here with whatever you guys would like to. But that's pretty much covering everything I wanted to address and get on the table for people to see and hear from, firsthand emergency responders, like what we use and what we don't use. So
I would say, if you have the time, I'd like to talk real quick just about if we were building our own kit, if we weren't going out and buying a pre-put together thing, what are the items that we're gonna buy to build that kit up.
That's a good point.
I start with the gauze.
Buy gauze.
I showed it to you.
Don't even buy gauze according to Rice-A-Roni. Just like have a friend who has unlimited gauze access.
Yeah, my answer is different to Mac than it is to your average civilian, right? Like, this is coming from a dude that's been shot at in a few different countries and a dude that's been on SWAT calls, has been inside burning buildings and has seen a bunch of medical emergencies, right? Like, it really varies. I have an sorry, I'm getting emails. Go look up PrepMedic. He's got an exact video on that question of how do I build my own IFAC. You'll hear people refer to it as JFAC, which is just the same thing, but the military changed the name a little bit. Go do some research yourself. Bleeding control is definitely necessary. Go look up Stop the Bleed kits. Consider your family, your environment. You know, if you got a kid with allergies, consider epinephrine, Benadryl, etc. If you are exposed to respiratory illnesses in your family, look at albuterol and inhalers like that. Inhalers are a great thing that we didn't get into that a lot of people could utilize.
Because one of my questions to you would be, what are the things? What sort of things, if people had them, they'd still be alive, or if their family had them, you know, that sort of like
common sense.
Well, yeah, and there's obviously like mindset, common sense, ability to use what you have, but then like, and I think, you know, probably things like albuterol, epinephrine, those are probably the things
Training.
that like
Training and fitness for sure.
If a lot of times it's just if someone put their loved one or friend or whatever into the recovery position.
What's the recovery position?
Left lateral position. Just Google that shit. Like laying in the fetal position on your left or right side. You know,
you can kind of tuck the legs in a way to where it self-balances, where like the body doesn't rotate and fall over.
Especially if you're overdosing, like Mac is kind of alluding
so
to.
They can breathe, or why would you do that?
It's so
to
they
breathe, and if they vomit on the side, and they don't pull a Breaking Bad.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So to help them clear their airway. And breathe.
Yeah, I mean the first week of EMT school is airway, breathing, circulation, right? ABCs, and it goes way in depth into that as you get into like the undergrads and the paramedics and critical care and all that. So yeah, I can't really advise for particular products besides what I've mentioned, and even then, like I'm wrong, and I'm probably arrogant, and so I'm stuck in my ways a bit, and I've got to learn from other people too.
I think it's one, I think you could say what you want to say in regarding to products, like what you like and stuff. No one's gonna be like, oh wait, that fucking med guy that is anonymous. You know what I mean? Like you can recommend what you want. No one's gonna care here. But I will say too, like to your point about like, you know, having the humility to be like, hey, this is what works for me, and it might not be what works for everyone. I had my IFAC not super squared away before my most recent IFAC class, but there's a couple things in there like the SAM splint, and it was in my chest rig recce IFAC. When the guy who was running the course, he tore down everybody's IFAC, and he's like, hey man, you just don't need this in here. I was like, well, I have it in there for like, you know, it's a recce chest rig, so it's what I'm going to be wearing if I'm like out in the mountains or condescending. He's like, okay, all right, fine. But like, you know, from his perspective of like plate, most people were wearing plate carriers and stuff. He's like, you don't need this on here. If you're wearing a plate carrier, you're in like a direct action environment or something. Yes. Like you probably don't need a SAM splint. And I was like, interesting, cool. Didn't know that, but it was something where I was like, okay, these are two different perspectives of experience that I've gotten information on. Both are probably valid, right? It's about a time and place and making your kit prepared for that time and place.
I got a perfect example. I was training with Pat earlier this week, doing some like active shooter and hostage rescue situations, and I showed him a Mega Mover, which is just this giant sheet that weighs about 1.5 pounds or so that folds up nice and easy and fits in most SWAT guys their entry vest. So we're not talking a recce rig, we're not talking like chest plate carrier stuff. We're talking an entry vest, which is big, bulkier, heavier, harder to move your shoulders in.
That looks a lot like the full collared Cry Precision stuff, right?
Yeah. So
it looks like the type of armor from a video game.
Yeah, you look like the Juggernaut from like Modern Warfare 2.
Medium Juggernauts.
Yeah. But this thing, I can roll Pat onto it. If he's like down, he's out, he's down for the count, like he's been shot or whatever, I can deploy that thing, flap it out, roll him onto it, and drag his ass out in a matter of seconds. I'm not carrying that on a recce rig, but if I'm on a SWAT mission, we all carry that, because if we have officer down or whatever, we're running that. And it's a cool product. I don't recommend it for civilians, but it is a really, really useful thing that I've used on a lot of calls, whether it's just a medical call, whether it's a SWAT call.
I think in that case too, like if you're a backpacking guide, put that in your
hunting
bag.
guide.
Right, like
but you run into the volume problem if you're backpacking.
Right, but right. I'm not talking. But what I'm talking about was like if you're the person responsible for other people, then have that in your like disperse kit, like whatever, like that's the type of thing, like, or a outfitter guide, whatever. Like if you're back out where you got to get somebody out, and you can get out your saw and cut down 2 lodgepole pines and lash them together with some P cord, and then fold the blanket in thirds. But
Gauze.
this thing's small enough that like it'd be worth it to, that sort of application where I'm responsible for people in the backcountry, or that sort of application. I thought it was something that could be used well in that case too. I mean, it was so small and so light.
Yeah. What's it called? What's like the even smaller or like more lightweight ones?
Talking a sked, the plastic ones?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, halfback sked.
Yeah.
We use that for trench rescue and collapse rescue all the time.
Yeah, and that's just like something I've seen that a lot of people started integrating into their like recce rigs, right? Of just like, hey, it's pretty much a one-time use thing, but it is gonna like let you get a dude on it, and if you need to, you can drag them through stuff.
Sure.
And tie it off to the ear back, or if you got enough guys, you could carry them pretty quick. But I have seen like those kind of growing in more popularity. Cool. Well, hey, I think that was a great episode, boys. Appreciate you coming in and joining us. Some of our kin to come on the podcast and speak to the rest of y'all. I will say, if there's any kind of final statements, like just advice doesn't even have to be medical, because this is usually where we kind of leave with our final signed off. What do you got for Rice-A-Roni?
Get fit, learn how to operate under stress.
Cool. Mac?
When dealing with anything medical, keep the blood in, keep the heat in, get them to a higher level of care. Move quick.
Excellent. Well, I don't have anything to say to that. You guys both, are the experts here in speaking, taking the words right out of my mouth. Pat, you got anything for us?
No, yeah, I think that it's what you guys are saying. It's all, you can buy every piece of gear, piece of equipment on the map, but if you don't know how to use it, it doesn't matter. And I've talked about this before on the podcast too, but it's just like your mindset matters so much, because we want to talk about the cool stuff. Like, I just got into a room and 48 people have just been shot, and I killed a bad guy myself, and now I've got to, do everything and whatever.
I have one thing to talk about once you're done.
It's like with like, you think about like all that stuff, and then it goes all the way down to like, what about when just a car wrecks and you gotta react to help somebody, right? Like, and like because you play out all the extreme scenarios, and you have to be able to manage yourself under those situations of stress. And then, you should have the stuff with you to help, and you don't want to regret not having those things with you either. And so it's a balance, and it's a training thing. It's also, don't like mentally masturbate all your crazy, scenarios. Just go, hey, a guy might punch his arm through a window, and now his arm is bleeding so bad he's going to die.
Yeah.
And I got to do something about it, right? Because those are all the things that we're all going to encounter so much more often. Even those things are rare, but that's the more likely cases.
And that's even the difference between a patrol level and a SWAT level. It's not what you're doing is complicated. It is just doing the same simple thing over and over and over again. It's mastering the simple task.
The first thing dispatch asks for when you call 911 is your address. The end.
Yeah. Good point. Well, kid.
Know where you are.
with that, thanks for joining us. Until next time.